I appreciate that. I love what y'all been doing so far. I love, I'm gonna get right into it once you all ready to rock and roll.
Yes, sir. Yeah, 100. Oh, tilt it up. Okay. No, yeah, I got you. Okay. I'm a little strong, nigga, so I might break this motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie. Is that good right there? That good right there?
Oh God.
You trying to get that hat in there too? I ain't gonna lie to you.
Love him. Okay, boys, welcome back to another episode of the MIGHTYcast, and we're joined by the man, Joaquin Buckley, and his brother, trainer, Edric. My man, solid foundation, take the throne. How you doing?
Man, we doing good. We doing great. Good. Thanks for having us.
Appreciate having us.
Again, you hear me? Come on.
Of course. No, man, I mean, you look great. Your last fight, you fought Kobe Covington. Let's talk about that. You fought him. You made him quit, right? I love how each time Kobe fights, he's always like, man, I was about to get in his ass. I was like, man, you sound like Piggy from fucking Next Friday. Walk me through that fight when you guys are going out there. It was your first time. Was it your first time having a 5-round fight? No, I don't think it was.
Yeah,
it was
my first, but still it didn't make it that far.
It didn't make it there, but it was your first main event. Talk to me about that,
yes,
man.
Sir. I mean, the first main event, I truly believe it was success for us and the team. We was doing things a little bit more creative, definitely when it came to promoting, right? We did our Brick Brother podcast out there in Tampa, shout out to Max, shout out to Severe, you know what I mean? They helped us, with those studios, man, and kind of setting things up, bro, where we can do our launch of our podcast, Fight Week, right? Mm-hmm. And then not only that, we also did an open workout, you know what I mean, for the fans to come in and watch that process while I'm cutting weight, you know what I'm saying, and preparing for this fight with Kobe, you know what I'm saying, and just having that energy behind me, having the folks behind me, having the fans, you know what I'm saying, just really, ecstatic about the fight, you know what I mean? The only person that wasn't making no noise at the time was Kobe, right? And I was expecting that with the promotion side, right, he'd be talking, you know what I'm saying, and as soon as we meet face to face, you know what I'm saying, like, bro, the numbers were gonna go up, but then what happened as soon as we meet Kobe?
He acted like he couldn't see us. He avoided us. And Chael came over and said something, but Kobe wouldn't say anything. And Bucks literally, hey, let's talk now. Let's talk, man. You want to fucking talk? Let's talk. Mm-hmm. And then nothing. He
gave us nothing. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, we still put in our footwork, bro. And the fight was a major success for us at the end of the day.
Did you think it was going to go that way, or did you think he was going to put up a little more fight? Did anything in that fight surprise you, right? Because let's be honest, one thing that Kobe does do when he does come to fight is he does come to fight. I mean, he's being, Leon Edwards. He's had, multiple battles with Kamaru Usman, who's your next opponent. Did anything surprise you when you guys got an octagon?
Anything surprise us?
No, that was pretty much.
No, we knew we was gonna whoop his ass. If anything, I really wanted to try to stretch out that fight, and I really wanted to see for myself what those 5 rounds would feel like. It's one thing to say like, oh, I can go 5 rounds because I do 10 rounds in the gym, right?
Yep.
But it's DJ. It's different when you actually get into the octagon and you start to fight, right? But just seeing, where we was at, even in the 3rd round, I was like, man, I'm feeling good, So I'm excited to get into the 4th, right, in these championship rounds. But then the doctor stoppage happened, so that's the only thing that was unpredictable right there. But we knew we was gonna finish Kobe at the end of the day.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna direct this question to your brother, your trainer.
Sure.
Talk to me about his growth and evolution as an MMA fighter, right? You've been with him since the very beginning. I remember the last time we had him on the MIGHTYcast, he was talking about, I had my brother corner me, and there was a time where you couldn't corner him because you had to work. Like, talk to me about this journey you're on with Joaquin, and now you guys are going to be able to fight, Kamaru Usman, but talk to me about, from the beginning to the last fight, Kobe Covington, and now preparing for Kamaru Usman.
Man, it's insane. Like, literally starting from Finney's MMA to going outside, fighting Bellator, and going into the arenas now. So everything has really changed majorly. Just his patience, his poise. I feel like Joaquin in the beginning of his career knew that he could win with his grit and physicality, and now we're really picking guys apart with our brain. It's all coming together. So the journey has been a long one, but I think we're where we need to be right now.
And then how is it? What's your background?
So I met Joaquin wrestling. I was one of the older guys on the team. Saw him, just kind of took a liking to him, thought he was a talented kid, and was like, hey man, we should work with each other. And just from that, we kind of flourished. And then he started doing MMA first, funny enough. He gave me a call. I was like, man, I think you'd be awesome at MMA. And we started always kind of fighting with each other. And one day I just kind of stopped fighting and I just kept helping him prepare for fights. And I didn't really plan on being a coach. I'm not going to lie. It just kind of flourished that way. It just kind of naturally happened. One day I just kept helping him. And like, I don't know if you know about his situation before he got to the UFC, but basically Joaquin pissed some people off. And
young buck, acting like young buck is this.
And he couldn't go back to the gym that we knew. So I was just like one of, of many people who would help Joaquin. And he was like, hey man, what do you think about just you cornering me, just you by yourself? And I cornered him probably 95% of his fights in
anyway.
Yeah, like maybe not all of his amateurs, but pretty much all of his pros, besides, me not being able to go out for work or whatever.
This time you just solo dolo now.
Yeah, so now I'm doing like the game plan with him and doing all the training, and it just kind of developed from that. So kind of just by necessity. So it's just interesting enough. And then we just kept winning. Like it was just, like for me, fighting at the LFA level or, on Shamrock or whatever, we just kept winning. So it just was a natural process. Like, I didn't even consider myself really to be a coach at one point. Other people were like, dude, you're coaching. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess.
But I do want to interrupt my brother, but like, bro, got one of the sharpest minds when it comes to breaking down fighters, right? And then, you got a lot of guys that know a lot of techniques in different forms, but when it comes to strategizing and looking at guys' holes or weaknesses, right? Because unfortunately, there's a lot of people that see undefeated fighters and they just see them as undefeated fighters, right? But they can't see the actual holes that happen until they actually lose, right? And then they be like, oh, I guess this is a regular guy. But he can see the holes in everybody at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I think for me, I try to watch as much as like for praise, but also for deficiency. There is no such thing as a perfect fighter. DJ, I would consider you to be almost as close as perfect as it is, but we all have little tendencies or holes that we have. And I think a lot of times as fighters or coaches, we fawn over the things that other fighters do that are great, but we don't look at the things that were mistakes in a beautiful performance. And I'm just kind of watching everything. The things that nobody cares about, I'm looking at that too. So that's just kind of the way my brain works.
Gotcha. What's your age? How old are you?
I'm 33.
33. Okay. You've been with him since day one.
Yeah, since the beginning.
18,
wow.
Bro. Yeah. I mean, shit, even earlier than that.
Yeah.
So by high school.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love that. How are you guys able to keep that dynamic, that relationship? Because obviously he hasn't, reached the level of a world. When you look at, you're part of the new guard though, so I don't know how I can.
Go ahead, spit it out, DJ. Don't be nervous with us.
I'm not nervous. It's almost like this, when you look at training, you look at, Kamar Usman, he trains with Trevor Whitman, and he also trains with, what's the gentleman's name? Kickboxer, I forget his name. Henry Hoof. Yeah, Henry Hoof. I train with Matt Hume, John Jones, Great Jackson, those guys. So you typically train with somebody who's, has success at a world championship level. Not saying, your brother hasn't yet, but you're also part of the new guard where you guys started from day one. You guys kept winning, being successful to Abu Dhabi. And it's almost like, I never forget when you were always talking about you got to get these old dogs out of here. You got to get these old dogs out of here. You're almost kind of like the new guard with the new fresh eyes on coach. Like, hey, you know what? I never fought at the highest level of mixed martial arts. I've never won a world championship, but you know what? I have an eye for detail. I can break shit down. I know your body. I know what you're capable of, Joaquin. So let's just keep on writing. It's a different viewpoint is what I was trying to get at. And I was curious that my question was going to be, how do you guys keep that dynamic duo going so successful? But you guys are starting fresh with each other. You guys are starting from day one.
Right. Well, be honest with you, to kind of unravel that question that you got, I feel like it happened over time naturally how it's supposed to, right? Like it was necessary for me to go out to Michigan and do what I needed to do, right? And I definitely did have benefits of getting better moving to Michigan. But like the overall story that I want to just take from that is I realized, man, I got enough at home, And then when my man, Edric as well, there's a lot of things that he, going through his little things, you know what I'm saying? So, just the timing of everything, I think just kind of meshed together for us, you know what I mean? So once we was able to reunite, you know what I'm saying, we was able to kind of just actually blossom, flourish, right? So when you talk about these other world-class coaches, no disrespect to them, they definitely doing their thing, but we all start somewhere, right? And I believe that my brother then already showed that he's a world-class coach with us beating Kobe Covington and Chael Sonnen in this corner.
Yep.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, it was kind of funny. Before Joaquin made it to the UFC, I think he had one LFA fight at the time. There were two fighters in particular. I ended up watching some film, and I was like, "Hey, man, I really think you would beat these two guys." And they were Kamaru Usman and Kobe Covington. I watched. I think it was their first time fighting, and Joaquin was like, "Hey, thanks, man." I'm like,
"Oh, bro, I was cold, nigga. I was trying to figure out how to eat." My man told me I could be two of the best fighters in the world at that time, you know.
And he told me thank you, and I was like, no, like we can clean up a couple things, work on wrestling, but I'm telling you, you got him. And I just needed him to believe it. So I think one of the things that have worked in my favor, I've never really cared about someone's resume. I don't coach against resume. I coach against fighters' deficiency and their proficiency in whatever regard. So I don't really care what anybody's doing on the other side as far as what they've done. You're 0-0 on that night. That's the way I look at it. So I think that in the short time that I've been doing UFC fights, we've gone to get some pretty good coaches, and I think my resume is starting to build itself.
I love that. And who else is on your roster? Is this you and Joaquin, or do you have a whole nother list of athletes that you're training as well?
No, it's just us, but we will be looking to gain some other athletes. But I'm gonna let you, because I love what you talked about when we talked about it in the future. Go ahead. Bro.
Yeah, so we're looking to put together a team, but I don't want to just have anybody on that roster, if that makes any sense. Me and Joaquin have a really good rapport. I like working for him. It excites me. I'm passionate. I think there are a lot of coaches in MMA who just take on guys, and then some guys happen to be successful and they're going to get paid and they're happy with that. I don't necessarily want to do that. I want to make sure that for the people who I'm training and I'm working with, that I'm actually passionate for the job, and I hope that they can reach great heights, but I want to be a part of something that I'm proud of. When I put my name on working for Joaquin, I look at it as something that I'm proud of, and I want that going forward with multiple other fighters as well.
Is this your only job, or do you work at somewhere else?
I work a job right now. I work at Panera. So, trying to make that transition after this fight. We're talking about, starting that team up and really flourishing. But right now, yeah. But that's the idea for the future.
I fucking love that. You all go out there and beat the shit out of Kamaru Usman on Tuesday. You're at Panera. Hey, welcome to Panera. How can I help you? It was like, oh, no, it's my man. I just beat the shit out of Kamaru Usman. Yeah, no, I get that.
I was on that same type of time at Walgreens. Don't get it twisted.
Sure.
But no. We plan on definitely. I mean, this fight doesn't just change things for me, but it changes a lot of things for the people around me. Beating Kamaru Usman does everything for the team, right? So this is a big one for us, right? This literally is a life-changing fight for us, you know what I mean? So we all buckled up for war.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, there was no disrespect whatsoever in there. I love the fact that you still have a day job, because as we all know, the money comes when you fight, and when you're not fighting, there's no money coming in unless you're out there making content, which you're doing a great job, by the way, on YouTube doing. And I love the fact that, like,
Great Brother Podcast, go ahead, follow up on that. Matter of fact, we got to get you on the show. You know how to get a hold of me, brother. You know how to get a hold of me. Just dial me. But I love the fact that, like, you still have a full-time job, because I had a full-time job all the way up to my world championship fight. Right. And then even then, it was like I was still, trying to find work here and there if I could. But I think it's important for a coach, an athlete, if you're not making that prime time money yet, it's always good to work a full-time job. So there was no disrespect whatsoever.
I took no disrespect.
Okay, I just want to let you know.
That's that's real. Gotta eat.
It's part of life. It's one of the things I think Joaquin respects too, because it shows that I really have a desire to do it. It's not just a paycheck. I remember, when we reconnected, I said, bro, I would have done this for free. Like, that's how we started. Me and him just going wherever. Me just taking off, putting my, using my PTO to take time to go coach, and then just going back to my regular life, So it's no different today. The passion's still there. I get paid a little better now, but yeah. So I like it.
Yeah, that's what's up. Well, when you're getting ready for your next opponents, your next opponent is Kamaru Usman, but I saw you brought in a special training partner. I believe his name is Neo. Neo, what's his name? Or
Oh yeah, Neon.
Neon. Talk to me about that. I felt like he was a good
Yeah.
training partner to get you ready for Kamaru Usman. You say you want to get intimate with
100%.
them. Talk to me about that
Yeah,
content
body,
creation.
that body on body connection.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
there it
I
is.
ain't gonna lie. He look. This is why I tell people all the time: all work is good work. You know what I'm saying? Like, was he the best quality work? No, but at the end of the day, he still showed up, showed out, came to St. Louis, showed us some love. You know what I mean? And put us in front of a lot of great, you know what I'm saying, new audience. So nothing but love for that kid. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he come back out to St. Louis. Hopefully he comes to the fight June 14th.
Well, how was his knees? Were his knees better than Kamaru Usman, or do you think his knees are about the same? Same durability.
Okay, look, I'm gonna say it like this. Boy got chopsticks. Boy got some chopsticks on there. But Usman knees don't even exist at all. So you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say Neon got better knees than my boy Usman out here.
Gotcha.
Truthfully.
Okay, let's get to this fight. Finally, you get the opportunity to fight Kamaru Usman. You've been angling for this fight, and I got nothing for Kamaru Usman. I remember when I saw him in Vegas. Was it Vegas or New Orleans? I made a comment about his knees. He goes, "My knees are fucking old." I know they are, but you know what? I still got gas in the tank. You finally get in this fight with Kamaru Usman. Talk to me about like the mindset going into taking on a former world champion, an old guard, right? Because let's face it, he is on the older end where he's on his way out, but he's still dangerous, still athletic. He's still good. He still could put up a great fight. His last couple of fights, the great fights were, Hamzat, and then Leon Edwards. Talk to me about you getting ready for this fight with Kamaru Usman.
I mean, the only thing we've been training is just attack the, you know what I'm saying, the lower half. To be honest with you, we're gonna ban that lower half. Boy, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be wild, But no, just in all reality, man. This dude right here, bro, is a future Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Kamaru Usman, is the type of fighter that that once you step into the cage with, that you finna fight greatness, right? But in my reality too, I'm that same person, right? I want to be known as somebody great. I mean, when I talk to you, like, I want to be, on that Mount Rushmore with you. You said, then do it,
Yep.
Like, this is the person that's going to get me to that position, right? This is the person that's going to get me to that place of where we're trying to go. So with that being said, man, we just been training for war, So we expecting the best version of Kamaru Usman, and I'm looking forward to June 14th, putting my man's lights out.
Edric, this question is for you. What are some of the things that you see that Kamaru Usman does? Like, what is his ticks, his proficiency, his deficiencies that you see that you're preparing? You ain't got to give away the game plan. Right, I know you guys.
Of course. Without me divulging too much of what I see from as far as like where we're going to attack, I think Kamaru Usman is great at dominating people. Somehow he makes people fight his fight, whether it's using his wrestling or using cage control or slowing people down or getting his technical boxing off. He's very, very good. Great, one of the greatest welterweights of all time. So I think that he has a great ability to make people fight his kind of fight.
Okay. And when you say, like, what is his thing that makes him dangerous? Like, for me, I would agree with you, but I think it's his ability to wrestle people and slow them down, right? Obviously, when you fought Colby Covington did pretty well in the feet. He's knocked out Jorge Masvidal. He's gotten those fights with Leon Edwards. But I feel like the biggest thing for him is like it's his wrestling and his durability.
Well, for me, I think his wrestling sometimes isn't always just being offensive. He scares guys into worrying about his takedowns. You look at the fight with Jorge Masvidal. It's not that he just used a wrestling attack, but Masvidal was so afraid from the first fight that he was able really to flourish with his hands and use his striking and knock Masvidal out. I think people are already afraid of what he's going to do to them before he gets in there. So when they get into those wrestling exchanges, instead of trying to just disengage and break off, they accept it and worry about what's to come. Also, I think he knows how to pace himself extremely well, especially for 5 rounds. He's very mentally tough, too. You've never really seen anybody beat up Kamaru Usman. Of course, he's been knocked out by Leon Edwards, but you've never really seen him have a hard day in the octagon. So it's not just his durability. He's very smart. He picks and chooses his moments to make sure that he's always in a good position not to be in those firefights.
And that's what I was just about to say, but my brother already said it. His mentality is his strongest suit. Even when you've seen him, even on these a 3-fight losing streak, right? Like each round that he was losing, bro, like still having that confidence, like, I'm gonna get it back the next round. I feel like in my personal opinion, that's what I want to remove from Kamaru Usman. That weapon right there, his mentality. You know what I mean? So in that first round, I really wanted to change his whole mentality because the reason why he's stepping into that octagon is because he do believe he can beat me. But I want to change that in the first round.
I can't wait. That's gonna be, even though this fight doesn't have like a belt on the line, I felt like this could be a world title fight just because him coming back from like what even though he's on a 3-fight losing streak, he's still one of the best welterweights to ever do it, right? And then you've been on a hot streak as well. The new guard coming up. There's been a lot of shakeup at the 170-pound division. Now that Islam is up there, JDM just beat Bilal Muhammad. I'm gonna get your take on that fight as well, and yours as well, Edric. I'm excited about this because you guys been trying to, you've been trying to get this fight for so long, right? And you're like, you guys need to either fight. We talked about in our last podcast. These guys need to either fight or they need to just retire or give you guys an opportunity to be able to step up and be able to work your way towards gold.
Right. And be honest with you, if we're gonna keep it a buck, Dana said it himself. Like, this is for the #1 contender spot. So like, this is really the belt on the line.
Okay.
And in my personal opinion, you talk to your brother Islam, you know what I'm saying? He trying to make them big moves up to 170. And they trying to make that fight happen with him and JDM, but JDM just went through a whole 5-round war. I don't think my man gonna make it to that fight, And with that being said, for real, my man, like, bro, I mean, he made Bilal look like he really had Canelo hands. That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, you seen JDM all swole up. He looking like Mark when he fought Tommy Hearns. Like, that shit was crazy, right? But at the end of the day, man, the machine got to keep moving, right? Yep. And with that being said, once we beat Kamaru Usman, I can definitely see the UFC putting a place where either interim belt or just making JDM vacate because don't nobody care about his name no way. You know what I'm saying? And me, Islam, we fight for that belt.
Okay.
I'm speaking it right now.
Okay, all right. So let's go back. I'm going to take a step back. What did you think of the JDM versus Bilal Muhammad? You already said that JDM made Bilal Muhammad look like he had hands like Canelo. Walk me through that fight. And Edric, I want you to piggyback on Kamaru Usman, which you thought, JDM did very well. This motherfucker hilarious. You be a motherfucking comedian. Yeah. That's what you need to be.
I thought that JDM and Bilal was an interesting fight. I think Bilal kind of surprised himself. I think he wanted to wrestle more, but he had so much success with the striking exchange. It was pretty close. I think 2 judges had that had it even going into the 5th round. If he won the 5th round, he would still be world champion, right? So I think he kind of surprised himself with how much he was able to do the striking, and it was just a war between 2 good fighters. I think that this is something I talk about Joaquin all the time, being intentional. Don't fall into a scramble or a position because you're having success. Be intentional with our game plan, our strategy to understand that it's okay to go off script, but you're a world champion for this reason, right? I think Bilal got away from his wrestling because he had success with his hands, and he didn't match his wrestling and his striking together. He either took shots that were blind or he was just striking. I think if he married those together, he probably had a lot more success.
Very well put. What you think, Joaquin? What you think? You little
I think Islam was praying to Allah for Bilal to drop that ball.
I fucking love this dynamic duo. It's like you have your coach and your brother. He is like, I think it's a very sophisticated fight. He did very well and da-da-da-da. What do you think, Buckley? I think this motherfucker right here, I think he was praying for the man's downfall, to be honest with you.
Hey, man, it's true. Alhamdulillah, right? That's what he said as soon as Bilal lost. So with all that being said, Bilal, whatever, because what we talk about Bilal ain't got the best gifts, the best ability, but he's a very intelligent guy, comes up with the best game plan, against all his opponents. So this was the worst, version of Bilal because he did not fight his fight. He did not stick to the game plan, and I'm not going to say he lost on purpose, but he did not give himself the best chance to win. And with that being said, it's just like, now I feel like Islam has a better opponent to face when it comes to JDM because JDM got so many holes that, Islam can just, just be able to expose, right? Which we already know what they are. We've already seen it before because Bilal should have already been able to, take those holes that Gilbert Burns already showed and get that easy dub. But, it is what it is. Like I said, I don't think JDM going to be even prepared to fight for another, 7-8 months, to be 100 with you.
Yeah, I think if they were to do it, like if let's just say like they were to do this, I think they do this fight in potentially November because what we're at right now, we're in June. Yeah, June, July, August, September, October, November, 5 months. That's what I think they would do. But then again, I think what you're saying too could be very, very an opportunity or an option, because if you go out there and fight Kamaru Usman, you get past Kamaru Usman. Islam is ready. He's healthy. He's at 170. And then JDM, who knows what damage he took in that fight. You know, he's going to at least need another 2 months to heal.
That boy going to sit on that thing for a year.
Yeah, so he sits on it for a year. Then there could be potential Islam versus Joaquin Buckley, especially since Dana White does make promises. Sometimes he can't keep, but I think you and your brother will be able to keep him, hold him to that promise if he said this is for the number one contendership spot.
100%.
Keep it real, Buck. What do you think of Islam not fighting Topuria? Like, what's your take on that? Is he ducking, or is it a legitimate move for his legacy?
No. It's a legitimate move, because my thing, how many 145s you gonna keep beating up? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? So you know how he did that, right? He already took that pound for pound spot from my boy Volkanovski. So his only option is to move up and really challenge himself if he want to, and that's at 170.
And I think too, like, to piggyback on what you said, I mean, if he fought, let's say he fought Alex Volkanovski, he beat him, right? And Alex Volkanovski, credit to him, before he even got the opportunity to fight Islam, he cleaned out division. I mean, you look now, he's about to fight Yair Rodriguez again for his belt, where you have, Mavzar, who's on like a 20-fight win streak, never lost. And he's like, right, I will get a title shot when they give it to me. And so for him and then he fought Volkanovski again, beat him. It did nothing for his stock. He was like, I keep beating up the smaller guy. I would like the opportunity to go up and fight 170. And I truly believe that if the UFC, they don't want to have any more double champs. They won't allow it, right? So they made Ilia, vacate his belt, and Islam vacated his belt. And I agree with you. If he was to beat Islam, like you said, if Islam was to beat Ilia, it'd be like, I just beat another smaller champion again. But if he goes up and becomes a 170-pound champion, now you're talking about legacy, because that's something I wasn't able to do. There's only been a handful of guys who were able to do that. And if he's able to succeed in doing that, I think
he gonna be over his brother Habib. I ain't gonna lie.
Exactly.
That's the only thing Habib was missing. But Habib was smart though. He knew he couldn't handle guys at 170. Them arms was too short. He ain't fucking nobody. You know what I'm saying? He won't get to nobody, bro. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, like, much respect for Islam for actually, going up, moving up weight, man, and really want to challenge yourself. The only thing that I say that's some bull is just that matchup. That matchup don't make no sense.
Hey, you mean
him and JDM ain't gonna do no numbers.
Yeah. Well, I think, it's interesting. I have to say this. I think Islam is a big star, meaning that he has a massive following, right? Like, if you look, anything the man does, the numbers are through the roof, right? And I think, with JDM, I think it will probably do great numbers, right? And here's the thing. The pay-per-view model is dying. We all could be honest about that. The pay-per-view model is dying, and I think ESPN Plus the UFC is looking for a new streaming platform, whether it's gonna be Netflix, whether it's gonna be Amazon Prime, and I don't know if the UFC is too concerned about pay-per-view numbers as of right now, because I feel the pay-per-view model is dying.
I do agree with you, but let me go ahead and get that pay-per-view. The one, at least let me and my brother get one pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? Let it be for Islam, before they get rid of it. I heard you though. You know what I'm saying? But let us get at least one. You know what I'm saying? $79.99. Yeah, we need that.
Well, you better get that shit lined up in your contract real quick, because you ever say, hey, you gotta get it lined up. That way you say, hey, after you hit 200,000 buys, let me get $1. After 400,000, let me get $1.75. After 600,000, let me get about $2.50. Okay, then you gonna be sitting real pretty.
100. No, that's 100. No, that's real talk.
Yeah,
that's real speed.
And I think, but I think I think it brings a different spin on the welterweight division. You're finally starting to see the younger guard take on the older guard. I mean, you still have Shawcott there. You got Ian Gary there. He just fought Carlos Pratis. Bilal's still there. You have JDM, where a lot of people didn't really know about him. You got you got Kamaru Usman. Now you have Islam. Like, we did a show not too long ago, and we're talking about like the welterweight division and the bantamweight division is probably the hottest. No, yeah, welter, lightweight, and bantamweight is probably the hottest divisions right now inside of the UFC. What you think, Edric? It says he got to get up and go use the restroom.
No, I'll be right back. But no, I agree. I think that welterweight has really been shaken up. You just saw Gilbert Burns lose to a young fighter. It's changing. But I do want to say one thing about Kamaru Usman. A lot of people forget, yes, he's on a 3-fight losing streak or whatever, but there's only one welterweight to beat him in his UFC run.
Yep, and that's
Leon Edwards.
Yep.
So, I want us to get the proper credit when we get this done, that people understand. Like, Usman is great. I take nothing away from him. And that guard is changing. But it's a big opportunity, big task. But there's a lot of change about welterweight. I think it's exciting because we've seen mostly just American wrestlers dominate. After post GSP, and now we're seeing a lot of different styles with Ian Gary and a lot of the new younger fighters.
Yeah, but Joaquin, but you don't typically wrestle when you fight. I mean, you could do it all, and I know your background is wrestling, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, your background is wrestling, but you be knocking motherfuckers out. There ain't no wrestling coming for you. So
the 50K don't come with wrestling.
Exactly. So I know I know you heard of my man MMA Guru, and he says it don't matter about your wrestling. If you have American wrestling, I don't give two fucks. If you're not wrestling from Crocus, but I don't put you in that category because you don't wrestle when you fight. You're looking to knock people out.
I mean, I will use it though, right?
Yep.
Perfect example when we fought Wonderboy. Like if me and Wonderboy was just standing up on the feet, boy, he probably would send me to the king. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's Wonderboy's specialty.
Yep.
Like why try to fight somebody, in their specialty? You know what I'm saying? That's why when Alex Pereira was doing what he was doing, I was like, y'all niggas not wrestling him? Y'all crazy. Y'all right? But regardless though, we use all our tools to set up to get the knockout. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So whether that's, using that Greco clinch, you know what I'm saying? Whether that's using that good old folk wrestling, whatever we got to do in order to set up that knockout, that's what we finna do.
Love that. I want to switch gears real quick. I know in St. Louis, you guys got hit by a natural disaster, the tornado,
yeah.
And I see you and your team out there helping people. Talk to me about what you guys been doing out there in St. Louis, trying to help people out through this natural disaster.
Yeah, so when I went out there, I went to Old Fallon Park, where people can get service of either getting help or being able to be a volunteer. So when I went out there, literally just trying to hand out cases of water, So I ended up seeing that. I was like, bro, I can actually hit the streets and actually kind of clean up, and be able to actually be on foot and kind of helping the people that's within the community that really got hit hard, because you talking about literally people not only just losing their lives, right? But losing their homes, not having power at the crib, not having no source of water or food, because all the places, even, saying like the small franchises, right? Where you can go to restaurants are closed down, so there's like no way that people can really survive without these things, right? So you literally see St. Louis, the community actually coming together, and helping one another, So I just really wanted to do my part, like literally picking up brick by brick, for the city, right? And really kind of just trying to rebuild our city where it need to be, But yeah, it's a sad time for us right now.
And you're doing this in between training camp, right?
Yeah, we had did that. Yeah,
Wow.
100%. So soon as I had got done training in the morning, I had went out, and just, set some time aside, right, to really go help out. Right. And instead of just waiting off, and waiting on another training time, I was like, man, I can actually use this time to actually go help somebody else, because, man, we've been blessed by God himself, to be in a position where we at today, what it make me look like, always shouting out St. Louis, but not really being in my city, really being in my community, helping out in this time of need.
And did you do that under the solid foundation, or did you just go out there like?
So this is the Action to St. Louis.
Okay.
That's what we worked with. Right now, the Solid Foundation is just a brand that me and my brother built, but we are looking forward to helping our community by building up a foundation for the kids.
Now I'm gonna ask a question. I live in Washington State. There's no tornadoes here. So and my kids were asking about this. So I told them, I was like, I haven't talked to Joaquin Buckley. He lives in St. Louis. And they were like, oh, was he there when the tornado hit? And I was like, I believe so, but I don't think he was affected.
Yeah.
Like it hit your house or your gym.
It just missed.
Was there a warning that the tornado was coming, or did it just fucking just pop down and start going?
So where I was at, I was in Brentwood at the time when it popped off, and Brentwood, we did hear the sirens go off. And at the time I was at ATT trying to get my phone fixed, and everything of that nature. And be honest with you, the sirens went off before you see any clouds or whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking like it's just like a
test,
a warrant,
yeah,
like a test. Thank you, right? So I'm not even tripping. But then hail started to come down, and then we start to see the clouds. So I'm still not tripping off of it because, be honest with you, tornadoes don't really hit the city like that at all, right? So you talk about you heard tornado sirens always go out just for the testing, but ain't nobody tripping off of it, right?
Yep.
But regardless, though, my auntie, they a couple, blocks down on Delmar and Skinker, they said they ain't heard nothing. Right. And but before we knew it, that tornado hit, and they had to get cover and stuff like that. And my granny, unfortunately, been in the room where she's at, she's unable to move, and my auntie can't, pick up. So, literally they praying that tornado don't hit them at, in that moment. But with all that being said, the signs didn't go off in the city where it was, got hit the most.
Damn. Well, God bless that everybody was safe in your family. And I respect that you're taking time out and help out your city in St. Louis, because a lot of athletes, they claim their city, but when it comes time to actually make a donation or get out there and put, pavement to rubber to the pavement, they're like, nah, I'm not going to touch it. So shout out to you, especially doing it in one of the most important training camps of your life. Right? Because there's a lot of people like, nah, I'm in training camp. I got to make sure I'm 100. I want to go out there and shine for the city, but I'm not going to help pick up the city.
I feel like for me, just realizing that I'm different, right? Like I don't need to always be surrounded by, certain people, or what's the word I'm looking for? Like, guys got to be in a certain mentality. I know when to switch it on. I know when to switch it off, as long as I'm getting my appropriate training in and my preparation, I got other time to actually go help, right? So yet again, we had already trained in the morning. As soon as I got done, went straight off on the road, went to Old Fallon Park, to go help out the people in need. So I feel like a lot of guys, they use that as an excuse, to not help, right? And to not, pick up other responsibilities. You're talking about, I'm too focused on this training. Like, bro, you already know, DJ, but nigga, all we do need to train for 2-3 hours, nigga, we straight. You know what I'm saying? So we take the rest of the day. But that's 100 though, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you're right.
So with that being said, a lot of guys just use that as an excuse.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm going to ask another question. I've been asking a lot of fighters around, whoever comes on the MIGHTycast, I ask them this question. And Edric, I want you to chime in too. Do you think mixed martial arts is in a recession right now, Joaquin Buckley? The reason I'm asking that is because when you look at the landscape of mixed martial arts, right, you see a lot of fighters having a hard time getting fights. You see a lot of fighters complaining about there's nowhere to fight. There was an athlete who just retired. I believe he was fighting for the PFL. He says, I refuse to fight for pennies. I refuse. There's just nowhere else to go to make big money. So there's a lot of athletes out there who are saying that, mixed martial arts is in recession. I talked to Sean O'Malley. He says, I ain't no motherfucking recession. I'm still having a hard time trying to spend my last check three fights ago. Right? So what's your opinion? Do you feel like mixed martial arts is in a recession?
I'm gonna say this, for me, I'm not in no recession either, but no. But hold on. But they make me work for moms. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we eat, but I gotta go hunt and kill. I can't talk about that boy Sean O'Malley. I don't know how many times he fought. Yeah. And what, last year? Probably one time?
Yeah.
And he was able to eat. That can't be us. So if we only fought once, then we'd be in a whole recession. But other than that, though, I feel like I've been blessed with the opportunity from the UFC to keep fighting, right? And I believe with my personal opinion, that's only because of the fans, right? And my fighting style, that they want to see me every single time I step in that cage. So I'm always making the UFC good money, you know what I'm saying? And the numbers always go up when I step my foot into that octagon. But with all that being said, I'm definitely looking to get, what I'm worth. And beating Kamaru Usman is definitely gonna lead to that good paycheck.
What do you think, Edric?
I think it's an interesting question because I believe MMA has just grown so vast that, like, I remember I've been watching the UFC since like 2003 or something like that, maybe 2002. And I remember when I would watch fight cards, I would know everybody on the card. Maybe if there's like a replacement, I wouldn't know. Now there's to the point where I watch the prelims, I usually don't know who those guys are. So I think there's more opportunity, but there's not as much demand for, if you're a first time fighting UFC, maybe even the first 4 fights, people are like, who is this guy? I remember, and I'm gonna stitch you a little bit. When Merab was on his run somewhere early in that, I was like, oh, Merab's really good. And Joaquin's like, who's Merab? You know, like I feel like we don't find out who guys are until they're like already almost on the cusp of winning a title. And if you're that guy who's fighting early on the prelims, or, you know, people aren't paying attention. So I don't think it's necessarily a recession. There's more opportunity. So fighters are more expendable. That's just the way I look at it.
Like, so it's like Pokemon back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can name all 150 of them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Now I'm just like, all right, man, you can't play that game no more. You know what I'm saying? Name this Pokemon. No, you can't do this shit no more.
I fucking love that because you're absolutely right. Because at the very beginning, you had 150. That was it. No less, no more. You had the bangers, you had the little ones, right? Now you pick up Pokemon. My kids come home with these motherfuckers. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Who is that? Who the fuck is that? The monkey on the fire? I'm like, what the fuck? And that kind of brings a breath of fresh air to me because, like you said, a guy like Merab, he'll have 3 or 4 fights in the UFC and you won't know who he is until he's almost about to win a championship, right? I mean, there's even, you know, what's the gentleman's name? Our one of our friends, Silva, not Pitbull, Bruno Silva, he fights and he was on like, I think a 4 or 5 fight win streak in the UFC. And then he just came up short when he fought Manel Kopp, but nobody really didn't know him because there's so many fighters. And then when you have so many fight nights, so many Apex shows, which is Michael's favorite UFC to watch is UFC Apex. You have Apex, then you have the UFC Fight Night, then you have, you know, the pay-per-view. And then every single one of those cards, there's somebody new. Then you have Dana White's Contender Series. There is more opportunity. Maybe the money's not good, but there is plenty of opportunity to go around where a lot of people, you hear them say, there is no opportunity. So that's why I always like to ask that question because you get a different perspective from everybody. Joaquin said he ain't no recession. He works for his, you know, he fought 4 or 5 times. You know, Edric, he's like, I never looked at it that there's so much more opportunity. Do you think maybe the money needs to change or do you think people should earn theirs?
I mean, that's a good, I mean, everybody want more. I don't care if they was paying us 10, 15, we still gonna want more because we putting our life on the line, right? You know? But my thing is, if you're a fighter, you speak your worth, right? I can't speak for every other fighter because I don't think it's some fighters that need to be getting paid 20 and 20, be honest with them, because they be straight trash. Like, why they even sign this dude is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, God.
So with that being said, you gotta know your worth. And if you know your worth, man, then you go fight for that.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's so funny because, you know, me and Michael, we talk about this all the time, right? We talk about like, you know, I believe there should be, at some point in time, I like to see a union inside of mixed martial arts, right? That way fighters can get, you know, a percentage of what you guys bring in, what the TKO brings in, right? But to hear, I said it too when I was fighting, right? I'm like, hey, I started at 3-3. You know, now I'm making 350. Can I vouch for the motherfucker who making 5-5? Absolutely. Do I think he should be making 5-5? Yeah, he should. Fuck, I went through it too, right? You got to work your way up to this motherfucker. I climbed my way up this bitch, right?
Right.
And that's the mentality that's going to keep a union away, right? It's going to keep it away because once you bring a union in, then everybody's on the same playing field. Everybody's getting the same about it. You know, he getting 50-50, even though he sucks. He getting 20-20, you know what I mean? And I just, you know, when I used to work in construction, you know, we weren't unionized. And then there was a buddy of mine, he worked construction and he was in a union and he said he absolutely fucking hated it. He goes, this guy doesn't do half the fucking work I do and he's making as much money as I am. So I think in a fighter's mindset, it's like, okay, Joaquin Buckley, he's world champion. He got the girls, he got the girls. He already had that life before. We go back there, okay? All right. He got the cars, he's got the money. People are showing up to see him fight. Right? And then you have, you know, little Johnny in this spot. It's his first time in UFC. How can we vouch that he should make $250,000, right? How can we vouch that he should be making 150, 150? Right. It's a hard problem to solve, but
it is a hard problem, but I'm gonna tell you this right now. And this is my personal opinion. UFC, please don't get mad at me for saying this. I think they signed too many people. right? And even though we got blessed in the COVID era, right? You know what I'm saying? With me just working at Walgreens, my brother just being my coach at the time, right? We didn't have no gym. We wasn't working out nothing. We was outside in the park with it, right? I still got the blessing and got signed into the UFC.
Yep.
Where you hear that at in any other sport?
You ain't gonna hear about it.
No, nowhere, right? But yet again, they didn't know who they had, who they signed, right? But I think it's a little too easy to get into the UFC. Now, hold on. The only backfire is hard to stay in this bitch, right? That's one thing, right? But it's a little too easy to get in here. And I believe if they made it harder to get into the UFC, that's when you see guys really making the money that they should and deserve. But right now, it's just too many people.
But I think I think you were just special, right? Like it's a gamble. Right, it's a gamble. You signed, you know, if you was like, hey, I'm going to sign the best. Well, I'm just going to sign the best of the best. You just never know. You just never know. But he's like, hey, you know what? You're working at Walgreens. Your boy's working at Panera. I'm going to take a roll. I'm going to roll the dice on this guy right here. Holy shit, it was a great dice. Just like me. I was fighting in Alaska and I knocked the guy out with the head kick. And they're like, I'm going to roll the dice on this guy, right? I feel like, you know, and I think the reason why they have a lot of more athletes on the roster is because they have so many shows. Right. I mean, like, there was no fight. I mean, there's one every single weekend. So I think they need to have the amount of people on the roster. And I do agree with you. It is hard to stay there. But you're the first person I ever say it's easy to get in this bitch. It's easy to get to the big show. I've never heard that before. You're the first person to ever say that. I would agree. I think mixed martial arts is the easiest sport to become a world champion. But I've never heard anybody say it's easy to get to this bitch. I was working at Walgreens. I got to this bitch.
Hey, I'm like, even though we lost the K, I'm like, dude, that's nigga supposed to be. Oh, me, bro. You know, so you know that's just my personal opinion. But I think just over time, you know, the sport is definitely going to grow even more because I feel like we're still in our infancy, right? Like what, 30 years still?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like. So we still got a lot of room to grow, you know, and especially with what we doing and how we doing it. I'm not saying it's something brand new what we doing, but I feel like just in the makeup, in the scheme of things, guys ain't doing what we doing right now in this current moment. And I feel like we can really make some innovations in the game.
What do you think, Edric? Like, what do you think? So you've been there from the beginning with Joaquin Buckley, and for you to bring it at the time when the time comes, you start bringing in new athletes, you know what it takes to get to that point where you start to make good money, right? I was talking to Sean O'Malley. I forgot to ask him this question. And Sean was like, you know, when I retire from fighting, I want to help the next people in my gym get to that point in mixed martial arts where they can start making big money. But we know how hard it is to get there, right? Like, do you ever worry about training the next guard after Joaquin Buckley, where it's like, all right, guys, here we go. Your first fight, you're gonna be making, you know, 2,000 a shoot, 2,000 a show, 2,000 win. Like, are you okay going through that journey with another athlete? Joaquin's already there. He's making good money. Are you willing to go through that journey again? I know, like, I feel like for Matt, he's been doing it forever. For a very, very long time. And he told me, I think it was like in the middle of my title reign, he goes, once you're done, I'm done. I'm not going through this ever. I don't want to go through this ups and downs. Yeah. Are you willing to do that again with a brand new, you know, protege?
I'll let you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd have to be the right situation to make sense. Like I said before, I don't just want to take on anybody. But at the same point in time, to piggyback off what Joaquin said, I don't think it's as hard as what everybody thinks. I think you just have to work to be really good, be consistent, and be smart in your training. As far as the ups and downs, I mean, that's a part of any sport. I think if you want to be a mixed martial artist, getting into it for the money is probably the dumbest reason. You should have picked another sport. You could have played baseball, basketball, football. You know, young fighters come to me all the time and they'll be like, what's your number one advice? I'm like, if you don't really love it, like if you don't really love this sport, just quit today. Yep. It's not worth it. Like, you have to have a passion beyond just money. Of course, you want to turn this into a profession and be able to feed your family and do all that. But DJ, I'll piggyback and just ask you a question. How many guys have you trained with at a particular point in time who didn't make it? We know more guys who did make it than did.
Yeah, I don't ever forget. I was training one day it was in Vegas, and I'd never armbar anybody off my back. Never, ever. And I was on my back. I was going to throw armbar up, and I caught the guy in the armbar, and he was like in the UFC. He was like ranked 8th. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I don't know what these motherfuckers don't know how to rank motherfuckers. I can't remember. It was a while ago too. I don't think he's still in the UFC anymore. But yeah, there's been a lot of people that I've trained with that have never made enough money to buy a house or even to pay to buy a car, right? And that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, the machine makes so much money where maybe 10% of the athletes might be able to make enough money to buy a house, or you know, it's a tough sport. Like I don't want my kids doing mixed martial arts just because, like you said, if you don't love it, don't do it. Do not fucking do it.
But let me say this though, right? Because I'm also gonna be on the side of my brother once this shit over with, because this shit will end eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we gonna do something, the way we make our money is not through these fight checks.
Yep.
Is doing stuff like this, right?
Yep.
We late, but we can start early with another athlete. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if I'm not mistaken, even the majority of yourself, George St. Pierre, Rampage, I used to hear y'all say y'all sponsorship money was bigger than the fight checks, right? So it still ain't gonna be no changing. It's just we have to find different ways to get our money outside the cage.
Yep.
Right.
And I think you guys are doing it. To be honest with you, I think starting the podcast, starting the YouTube channel, you know, building your brand, the solid foundation, all that stuff, and the gym.
And we're going to actually, and I don't mean to cut you off, but we're going to send you some solid foundation merch, man, because you definitely a brick, man, putting us on and allowing us to, you know what I mean, be on your platform as well, man, and really getting the word out, you know, because I think it's so important. Like I said before, you know, you got to put yourself on, right? Yep. And fighters, right? Uniquely, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I feel like we rely on other, you know, media outlets, whatever, you know what I mean, to kind of put us on. But bro, we are the people that they want to watch. And I'm talking about the fans, you know what I mean? Yep. So when you talk about, you can come directly to the source, right? Because now we got our own cameras and mics and, you know, editors and all the other stuff. People gonna come to us and not, you know what I mean, go to other media outlets with, yet again, they're not trying to see them, but guess who's making the money? Right?
Yep. Well, like I said,
we can turn around and do it.
I've always been a big fan. Even after we vibed out in St. Louis when I came out there, and me and Michael were talking about, man, we should do a Mighty Journey. I was like, dude, we should go to St. Louis to do it. And I was like, man, the time thing isn't gonna work out, but I could always go there. But ever since I talked to you and we were, you know, vibing out, and then you're fucking hilarious. You're a comedian, and I love the fact that, like, you know, and I told Michael this, like, as a fighter. If for me being 5'3", 135, 145 pounds, there was nowhere in the world where I was going to be able to make six figures by whooping somebody's ass. There's just, you know, I worked at Taco Bell, I worked at Parkland Putters, I've hung gutters, I worked at a construction plant, and that shit is hard labor. I mean, you work 8 hours, and then after 8 hours of work, you go to the fucking gym, you work out. It's hard labor. So the mindset for me is like, if I can fight somebody and make a load of money, I'm going to do it. Whether when you compare it to other sports, basketball, football, baseball, we don't make even a fraction of what they make. But to hear you say you had that dog, and you're like, I used to work at fucking Walgreens, and my boy used to work at Panera. We try to make a fucking difference. I ain't worried about him. I'm gonna try to get mine. I can relate to that because I was there at one point, and I love your story, and that's why I think we vibe out so well. And then you talking about fucking short arms for Habib and shit.
You definitely got to make that a short clip for sure.
Okay, I ain't gonna take too much of your time, Joaquin Buckley. What is something the fans could look forward to seeing you do? You know, I know you got the solid foundation, you got the Brick by Brick podcast, you got the collaboration with Neo. This is your opportunity to let people know how they can support you, where they can follow you, what they can look forward to, man.
Well, I just thank you for having us on your platform. But, you know, any other fans out there that's watching this, you know, y'all can always go follow me on Newmanson94, as well as my coach.
Conan King _fitness.
You know what I mean? And as well, go subscribe to our channel, Brick Brothers Podcast. That's what you guys seeing behind you, because that's one thing that we're doing right now. We really trying to get the world to really know us personally, right? Not just as athletes or as a coach, but just as human beings, you know what I mean? So, you know, definitely lock in, bro, because what we be talking about, man, and how we really be breaking down fights, bro, and literally how we be talking about the game, you know what I mean, is a little bit different from everybody else. And I believe that you're going to be highly entertained the whole time. And with all that being said, you already know I got the biggest fight of my life coming up, man, with the team against Kamaru Usman, June 14th in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? State Farm Arena. Make sure if y'all in Atlanta, go ahead and get your ticket right now before they sell out. And as well, you know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all tune in for that night, because we finna knock buddy out, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Most
absolutely.
Michael, before I let these men go, you got anything for these guys, Michael?
Yeah, I'd say my only question, one guy we haven't talked about yet that I would love to see this fight one day, you and Ian Gary. And that's this is what I'm gonna pitch right here. We have some time. Let's say you beat Kamaru Usman. We have a little bit of time before JDM Islam. I think we could get that fight in. That's the fight I want to see, you versus Ian Gary. And I just want to see the trash talk.
Now look, I'm gonna tell you this right here. The only way they happen, they gotta make that a pay-per-view. They gotta make that pay-per-view because we gonna run that. I need y'all to buy that for $79.99.
I forgot you said
Buck versus Cuck. Buck versus Cuck gonna feed nations. I swear to God, it's gonna feed nations.
I never forget you did a video. You're like, yeah, I was at the press conference and I went up there and his wife put a hand on me, say, "I'll see you later." What the fuck did she mean by that? It had me dying. I was like, I'm dead.
Hilarious. That's a true story, by the way.
Did you see her that night?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm pissing too. Ian Gary was there.
Okay, boys. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is our guest, Joaquin Buckley, and his coach, Edric. And I am your host, Mr. Johnson. Make sure you guys go do yourself a favor. Follow this man's YouTube channel and the podcast. It's great stuff. And the YouTube collaboration, that he's done out there has been absolutely amazing. Had my ass dying. And that's my host. You got me all fucking. I'm just thinking about when you're like, what the fuck did that mean? Okay, get my shit straight. Okay, all right. If you guys enjoyed this episode of MIGHTycast, please like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to know when we go live. Go follow my man, Joaquin Buckley, as he takes on Kamaru Usman. I'm your host, Mr. Johnson. That's my right-hand man, Michael Wansover. We'll see you guys at the next episode of the MIGHTycast. You motherfuckers are wild. You know that? You motherfuckers are too wild.
Appreciate you, man.
Oh, he had me trampling on my words, man. I couldn't get my shit straight. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the MIGHTycast, and we're going to recap everything we just went through with our guest. And our guest was Joaquin Buckley and his coach, brother Edric. And if you guys didn't know, this is part of the episode we call the Mighty Recap. So first off, this motherfucker can be a comedian. He's absolutely hilarious. I always love chatting with him. Always love vibing out with him. And when he said that at the very beginning, it was just him and his brother. He was working at Walgreens and his brother was working at Panera, and they're still together. They're still grinding. They're still trying to take the throne brick by brick, solid foundation. It warms my heart. And the fact that he said, it's easy as fuck to get in the UFC. What'd you think about that, Michael, when he said it's easy as hell to get in the UFC?
No, I was happy because he was the first, other than you, the first UFC fighter I've heard say that. And I remember we had a conversation with Death Sentence in the car about it. And I said that to Death Sentence, and he was like, what? It's easy to get in the UFC? And you agreed. and you agreed with me. You're like, no, yeah, it is easy. Like, and Death was kind of like, oh shit. Yeah. And I love that Buckley said that.
I don't think it's easy. I think it's the easiest sport to become a world champion.
Compared to, I'm comparing it to, you know how crazy you have to be at fucking basketball. I got the NBA behind me.
Yeah,
you have to be the crazy. I played pickup against guys where I'm like, dude, this guy's making every shot and he couldn't even crack a D1 college scholarship.
Yeah.
But with MMA, you're able to, you could get it with having enough skills, having enough work ethic, but it's what Buckley said about staying there and being champions, another thing, but getting that 10-10 means nothing now. Like it means nothing to get on the Dana White Contender Series, to be on these Apex cards. They almost don't even feel like being a UFC fighter. I'm sure these guys will say, they'll tell their kids in 20 years, like, I was a UFC champion, even though all they did was fight once on Dana White Contender Series and then lose their first fight in the Apex and get cut. But that's kind of just the reality of where UFC is nowadays.
Yeah. Well, I also think, I've been asking a lot of fighters about the recession, right? Like, you see managers saying that mixed martial arts is in a recession. And then you ask, we asked Sean O'Malley, is it in a recession? Then you ask another guy, Joaquin Buckley, is it in a recession? And I always like asking that question because you just get a different perspective from everybody, just like you do in real life, right? Like, everybody's like, oh man, Trump's in office, we're going to a recession. I'm like, nah, man, YouTube's great for me and Michael. And, Michael's living his best life. He's making, great money. And to hear Joaquin Buckley talk about, like, Nah, we ain't in a recession. I'm not in a recession. I'm earning mine. I just love asking that question. I don't know why.
But yeah, it's because guys like Buckley and Ian Gary have to fight all the time, which that's why I love guys like that. Like Ian Gary gets a lot of shit, but he's just constantly fighting in an era where you're seeing guys fight once a year and get title shots too, because UFC booking, I don't even know what the fuck has happened to the book. Someone else needs to grab that book because it has been out of control lately.
Let's talk about that. The chat, just so you guys know, I got a very, very horrendous message last night from Michael talking about the booking of Alex Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez.
Well, it's not official, so I'd rather save it for if it is official, but
Okay.
it does seem like it will be official because you just look at the featherweight rankings. We got Mavsar. We already know he's gonna fight. What's his name? Aaron Pico. So that takes out Mavsar. We'll see if it happens. I'm gonna save, and we'll have MMA Guru. We'll probably take care of my hot take on this because I'm sure he'll go on a huge rant. But if it happens, I think it's the most undeserved title shot in UFC history. I can't think of another example. I would say if Yair gets this, it's the most undeserved ever. And
do you think? Do you think it's more undeserving than Stipe versus John Jones?
Yeah, Stipe is the arguably the heavyweight GOAT, right?
Hey, at least he had a fucking these Yair's got to win.
Yeah, but I mean, at least Stipe, there's something there of like, whatever. It's his last fight. He's the greatest heavyweight of all time. Yair, I was there with Kelvin ringside for Yair Rodriguez versus Volk. It was not close. I've seen more competitive sparring sessions. It was not close whatsoever. And what has changed since that moment? Has Yair gotten better? Has Volk gotten worse? I don't think so. I think it will go exactly the same. And that's no offense to Yair because he's one of my favorite fighters to watch. But put him against Diego Lopez. They were going at it in Spanish, which was fucking amazing. Do that as the co-main, and then Volk Mavsar would have been a perfect main event. But yeah, not to get off topic. But one thing I will say, even as I shit on UFC booking, this Buckley Usman fight was a no-brainer.
Yes,
I'm very happy they made it. And the welterweight division right now it probably is the best book division and just so deep. Like, I don't even know what Sean Brady's doing next. We still have Shavkat. If you pull up the welterweight rankings, like there's just so we haven't even talked about Michael Morales, who just destroyed Gilbert Burns. So that's your top 8 right there. Michael Morales, Buckley, Ian Gary, Usman. Leon Edwards is the one where I do wonder what he's doing next, but I would love to see that MVP matchup.
Ooh, so MVP for Leon Edwards. Oh my God. And I always forget about MVP, but I know he goes back down to welterweight or he go middleweight. And I know we spent some time with him in London. If you guys have not checked out that mighty journey, do yourself a favor, check that out. I always forget about him if he could fight welterweight or middleweight.
Yeah. So that division is just stacked. And I will say though, Buckley, I'm sorry if you're listening to this. I do not think he should get a title shot if he wins this. If you look at the rest of the division, I think we're going to probably get either Bilal versus Shavkat or we're going to get Sean Brady versus Shavkat. So I do believe the winner of that matchup probably is a little bit more deserving. And the issue we have with this, what I don't like about the Islam JDM fight is Islam has not fought since January, right?
Yep.
And JDM has this 5-round war. So now we're going to wait all this time, right? It just doesn't. Then Islam's going to just end up not fighting for close to a year while all these other contenders are waiting out. And he just goes, Islam, which he deserves. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the title shot.
I get you.
But what's happening though is that Buckley probably won't get a title shot with this win. I'm sorry, Buckley, but
no.
I think he'll need one more after this.
Yeah, I think so. Just from the booking, what he said earlier though, if JDM is kind of like, hey, I'm not ready to fight, and Islam was like, I'm not gonna fight anybody. I'm gonna wait for JDM. Hey, let's do interim belt. Let's do Joaquin Buckley versus whoever the next number 1 guy is, right? I mean, if Dana White said, Dana White says a lot of shit, but if he says that this is the number 1 contendership spot, I'm gonna put, I'll put some investment into Dana White's word. Maybe you could, but I agree with you. I think this long wait for JDM could, stall the division. So we'll see what happens. I always enjoy talking to him, and I'm excited for this matchup between Kamaru Usman and Joaquin Buckley, because Kamaru Usman is on a 3-fight loser streak. He's still there. He's a great analyst. He has a great podcast with Henry Cejudo. I think I feel like for me, it's almost time to transition out of, that warrior mentality, the fighter mentality. I did it. Can I still move? 1,000%, but I feel there comes a point in time where there's just no point to risk the body, the brain cells. But then again, maybe he still loves it. I didn't really love it anymore. But I think it's a great booking for the UFC. Good job on that. And how do you think that fight goes? What do you think is going to happen, Michael?
Yeah, I think Buckley's got it. I do want to pull up the odds and just take a look at who's going to win. But the one variable is that Kamaru Usman looked so good on a last-second 185 fight against Hamzat the last time we saw him. So, there's part of that Kamaru is still there, right? It's somewhere, even though we all laugh at the seeing him walk or anything like that clips, but, it's... But when he's in there, it does not look like dude, look what Hamzat just did to Whitaker.
Yeah.
And that those knees did not stop him from fighting Hamzat extremely well on short notice. So yeah, I pulled up the odds. This obviously these odds will change as we get closer to the fight, but Buckley is minus 265. So that means he's an implied basically 2.5 favorite. So it is tough. I just think he's the legend killer, right? He's kind of taking that Randy Orton gimmick. But Randy Orton is also from St. Louis. I love that Buckley has adopted that legend killer gimmick and just wanting to knock off these older guys. There's a 7-year gap. That I think that's what ultimately is going to be the difference. We'll see what happens, but I think I'm gonna go Buckley on this. But I do think it could be competitive with how good Usman looked the last time we saw him.
I love it. Well, the young man, Joaquin Buckley, take the throne, or will Kamaru Usman stay on top, and break that 3-fight loser streak? I don't know. I'm excited to watch it. But boys,
did you say your prediction? Because we're not doing a final prediction, so you might as well.
Oh, so my predictions, I think Joaquin Buckley will beat him. I think if Joaquin Buckley can keep use his athleticism, use his speed, his in and out, attack the lower half, the legs, I think he can end up knocking out Kamaru Usman. Just because as you get older, shots when they land, they put your lights out, and he's been knocked out before, and he's knocked people out before. But I think as long as Joaquin Buckley keeps on using his athleticism and his strength, he's a big fucking dude and strong. I think he should beat Kamaru Usman. So that's my take. Joaquin Buckley, and my man Michael Wansover has Joaquin Buckley. Will Joaquin Buckley take the throne, or will Kamaru Usman break that 3-fight loser streak? I don't know. We'll find out. But boys, if you guys enjoyed this episode of the MIGHTYcast and the Mighty Recap, do yourself a favor. Please like, subscribe, and also hit the bell to go live. And make sure you guys go follow Joaquin Buckley, his Brick by Brick podcast, and Solid Foundation clothing line. Support the man. I want to see him eat good. I want to see everybody eat good. And I hope you guys are eating good with all the content that we're pushing out to you guys. I'm your host, Demetrious Johnson. That's my right-hand man, Michael Wansover. We will see you guys in the next episode of the MIGHTYcast. All right, here we go in 3, 2, 1. What's going on, boys? Welcome back to another episode of the MIGHTYcast. And we are here with the man that goes by Don't Blink, Kai France. Kai, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and your training camp. How you doing today?
Nah, pleasure, bro. Pleasure's mine. Honored to be in your presence, bro. Greatness. And yeah, life's good. Life's flowing, thriving. And yeah, you know what it's all about, juggling all everything that comes with a world title and responsibilities, being a father, husband. Told my wife, can you get the kids out of the house? Give me an hour with DJ. And I think she took them over to the grandparents. So it's a quiet house, which is pretty rare. Usually I've got one of my boys trying to climb out the window. The other one's trying to, put on his favorite show. But yeah, I love that I have that to go home to every day.
What are your boys watching right now? Is it it's not G.I. Joe's. What are they watching over in New Zealand as children? What's the show?
Well, me and my wife are trying to be more educational. So like we put on Māori shows that only speak Te Reo Māori, and that's just, you know, we wanting them to know where they come from and speak the native language of Aotearoa New Zealand, which is Te Reo Māori. So you won't know the shows, but there's one of their shows is Takaroa Tribe, Mahi Pai. They just shows about like characters that are only speaking Te Reo, and yeah, it's pretty cool how they understand it, and yeah, just getting it more immersed in our house. Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to jump right into it. Let's talk about your culture. So I'm assuming you speak a different language.
I don't speak fluent Te Reo. My wife does, and my boys, well, they're in a kohanga, which is they're learning, but I didn't grow up, you know, speaking Te Reo. A lot of things are the reasons why that, but main thing is, you know, now I'm learning and relearning and I guess, yeah, reconnecting with my culture, and it's a big part of who I am and the path that I'm on, and walking that with my kids. So yeah, it's cool because it's never ending. It's like martial arts. The more you know, the least you know. And it's just a way of seeing the world. So it's a unique way of seeing things. You know, it's not for, I guess, hierarchy, power, or ego, status. It's how can I leave, you know, the earth better than I found it, better than I came in it, and being of service to your village, to your community, to your whānau being family, and just, yeah, that's the priority. And then everything around that is just trying to be better than yesterday and lead by example. And, you know, the way I understand the world now was going back on how my ancestors and tupuna would have navigated their challenges and their obstacles, you know, hundreds of years ago. And that's the blueprint I go back on to allow me to go forward, and, you know, protocols that they would have done, you know, going into war, going into fighting. I kind of use that protocols in the modern day for what I do for my mahi, for my work, fighting in the UFC. So, you know, I heard what you said before. I'd love to see a haka. It's like, for those that don't know, here's a bit of education. So a haka is a traditional war dance that our tupuna would have done before they would have fought for land, fought for mana, which is, you know, something that we hold the highest, which is, it's a presence. It's a way of walking into a room and you don't have to say anything. People just know, okay, this man demands something like yourself. You demand mana when you walk into a room because of who you are and your what you've done in your career and what you've done in your life. You don't have to say anything. You just have that. And yeah, it's something that you can't buy. And so yeah, our tupuna would have done a haka, traditional war dance, just to kind of set the tone. It's a sign of respect, and it channels, I guess, the energy that you need to be able to go and do it in the, you know, on the battlefield, or, you know, in the trenches, you know, fighting for your life. And, you know, I channel that when I go out into the ring, you know, fighting and yeah, going inwards and yeah, bringing in my best. So just going back on how, you know, my ancestors would have done things is, yeah, powerful, and it's a great tool to do it because it's all been done before me, and it allows me to kind of make sense of everything, and it's my superpower.
I love it because I feel like me and Michael, we talk all the time when it comes to mixed martial arts, sports, WWE, whatever it is. And what gets me excited is the stories, right? And then I was, you know, doing a little research and I saw you talked about your culture and the mana. And then, you know, I know you do the, the face.
It's called a pukana. Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I want to see more of this because I want to buy more into the story and the culture. My best friend, I've never seen him do the haka. Granted, you know, he's 37 years old. He's still he played football, but he's very, very tied to his culture. And his sons they play football. And I'm like, man, are you going to teach your kids the haka to show him? He goes, I don't know, man. It's something that I haven't really, you know, pushed onto them. And you got your children, you know, watching, you know, the old cartoons to be closer to their culture. Are you going to teach them the haka?
Yeah, they already know. Like that's what they learn.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they learn it at their kohanga, their school that they go to. This is a normal day for them. Like once my little one, he was going to my wife's course last year, which was a full immersion course for the whole year. So you could only speak te reo. If you didn't know anything, you just didn't speak. So I feel like that's the best way to learn a language, because it forces you to forces you to speak. Otherwise, you're just going to default back to English. So my wife is leading from the front, and she took my son every day, my youngest, every day to school with her, and he knows te reo more, firstly before English. Everything he says is all in te reo. So and anytime a haka is playing or he hears it, he starts stomping his feet, and he gets.
He'll love that. He's like,
he's ready, bro. Like on just switch, he just goes straight into. It's just in him. That's what's so beautiful about it. He's whatever environment he's in, he's like a sponge. So I love that my kids are gonna know where they come from, to know where they're going and where they're heading. So. It's cool because it makes us unique, and that's what is a big priority where I'm at in my life. Fighting in the UFC, I want to bring culture with me to know that when I make that walkout, I'm representing us, and on the world stage, massive platform. I want to be inspiration for all so far away from home. When I'll be fighting in Vegas or fighting on the world stage. Just lets everyone know the world's never too big, and whatever dream or passion that you have, you go after it, and don't sacrifice who you are to get to where you want to be. You bring it with you. That's what's can empower you and help you rather than hurt you. So it's definitely exciting, but. Yeah, it's I'm in a great place, physically, mentally, spiritually, all these things that fills my cup and just prioritizes what's important to me.
I love that. Okay, I want to take it back to the beginning, because I had one of your training partners, Dan Hooker, on MIGHTYcast, and I want to see if your guys' upbringing was totally different. When did you first get into mixed martial arts? Obviously, being in New Zealand, I remember he told me that it's more about kickboxing over there, right? Not really mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
Grant, I believe he is older than you. So what was your first introduction into martial arts?
Yeah, so me and Dan both started together at Strikeforce, which was a gym out in West Auckland. So it's pretty rough out there, or that's just the mentality out there. It's you just keen for a scrap, keen to throw down. We started training together. I first started martial arts when I was 10. I walked into a jiu-jitsu gym, same gym, Strikeforce, and I went to the kids class, and I just went there for the games. That was fun to me, playing this game called Bull Rush. So it's like a tackling game. You got to get to the other end without getting tackled. And you got to try to be the last one in it. So it's like a schoolyard game. And then, just got more into it. I guess, you would know, being our size, it's growing up, you're seen as a target. So if you don't know how to fight, you kind of you're forced to. And martial arts was a tool for me to kind of navigate being a boy and being the smallest in my class. And it was like a way to turn something negative into something positive, where I didn't want to be feel so vulnerable and so helpless. That my parents got me into martial arts to get more confidence, and then I just stuck at it. So in high school, that's when I first met Dan. He went to the same high school as me. He was a few years older than me. And we just started training together, and then had my first pro fight when I was about 17. So I jumped straight in the deep end. That my coaches at the time, they were like, "Well, you're gonna find out if you're about this, if you want this or not." And very thankful that they did, because I knew at a young age that this is what I wanted to do. I wasn't like, back then, 2010, I made my pro debut. There wasn't, especially in the New Zealand combat scene, there wasn't many guys that are around my weight class. So like I just had to take the fights, otherwise I'll just be training for nothing. And I just wanted to test myself and just the challenge to get in the ring. That's what I loved about it. The mental, hurdles that you have to overcome, the self-doubt, there's so many things that you have to block out, the head noise, and, execute your training in your fight. And I ended up winning head kick knockout my first fight, pro fight. And then the next day I had to go back to school, finish my exams.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. My head wasn't in the books. I just wanted to scrap. And then, ended up moving to Thailand after high school. Or I dropped out of uni. I didn't want to do it. I told my parents that this isn't for me. And pretty unique because all my brothers has gone to university. My dad's a lawyer. My brother's a lawyer.
Wow.
My other brother's a journalist. It was definitely against, I guess, the norm in my family, but they knew that I was passionate about this. So just 100% supportive of me. And just packed up my bags and booked a one-way ticket to Thailand. First time being overseas by myself. Didn't know anyone, and just chased it. So I knew this was for me.
That is fucking crazy. Now, I want to ask one question. You said at the beginning of your journey. Now, you say you went to do jiu-jitsu, or was it gym? So your first initial introduction into martial arts was jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, 100% jiu-jitsu. So it's something that we could relate to, being in New Zealand. Rugby is, pretty much tackling someone. So I was used to like that kind of technique, just tackle someone to the ground and then try hold them to the ground. We weren't really doing submissions back then. Obviously, we're 10 years old. So it was more just trying to get mount. That was the goal for like 3 or 5 seconds, or back take. So get your hooks in, seat belt. If you can hold it for 5 seconds, you'd win the match. So we weren't really learning submissions in, just more positional stuff. And bread and butter, that is, kind of like what you need for jiu-jitsu, how to break fall, how to get up, attack, stand up, how to scramble, get back to your feet, how to get on top and hold position. So definitely set me up for what I wanted to do, which was punch someone on the ground. That's something that comes second nature to us down here. Is whatever the most violent thing you can do on the in a fight, we're gonna try to do it. Yeah.
Gotcha. I was gonna say, because you look at your resume, you tend to go about fights by knocking people out, right? I can't remember the last time I saw you go out there, blast a double leg and looking to take somebody's back and choke them out. I'm not saying you can't do it, but typically you end up knocking everybody out. Like when you knocked out Cody Garbrandt when he dropped down to 125.
Yeah.
Or you knock out Steve Ercik, you have some highlight reels at the 125-pound division, which is a division that a lot of athletes, even myself, we don't possess that type of power. So when you said the first thing you did was jiu-jitsu, I was like, hold up 1 second. Was it gi jiu-jitsu? And I want a little more confirmation on that, because I was like, I feel like your background is kickboxing or Muay Thai stand-up, but you went to Thailand right after you got out of high school.
Yeah. So I'm still a blue belt. I don't train much in the gi. I haven't trained in the gi. I probably trained in the gi 5 times in my life. So when I was doing the kids class, it was no gi. And then, I wrestled. I was in the New Zealand wrestling team. But I didn't go to the Commonwealth Games. I ended up just passing it over and said, no, I'm trying to make it an MMA. And that's when I was in Thailand at the time. So I said, I'm just going to stick to fighting MMA. I wasn't doing wrestling to get better or to like pursue a career in wrestling. I just did it for the mat time to get just throwing in everything. I think that was my upbringing in fighting, is I did everything. I did boxing, I did kickboxing, I did jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and just really got into just exposure to everything. I've seen it all. And then being in Thailand, I went over there chasing a scholarship. So Tiger Muay Thai, based in Phuket, Thailand, they were doing scholarships. First of their kind was 2013. And then, I ended up getting the scholarship, 1 out of 5 guys that they chose, youngest by like 10 years. And then, just stayed there for about 4 years. So I didn't stay there like for 4 years straight. I would come back home for like a month, every year, just to kind of see family and stuff. But after 4 years, I didn't want to come home without something, or like move back home without something. And then that's when I got picked up for the Ultimate Fighter season 24, where I actually first met you. We had to stand in a circle and you were in front of us, and they were like, can we get DJ a box? We want him on everyone's eye level.
Yeah. Hey, why you got fucking tell people that, huh? Make me look like I'm 6'2". Come on now. Why you gotta cut me down like that, Kai?
No, like everyone was just like quiet because everyone was like, shit, like his greatness in front of us, and like he's where we want to be, with the belt around him. And yeah, it was just cool to be a part of history, being on the Ultimate Fighter, and seeing the guys that have come through that show. And now, we're pretty much the face of the flyweight division. But, this is a legacy that you've left behind, putting it on for the 125ers, gaining respect for our weight class. So, just thankful that you were, the pioneer of our division, and you paved the way for all of us.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's funny you bring up the Ultimate Fighter, because I remember they were going out grabbing all the best athletes around like the regional circuits around the world. You had Zulu, who was from Africa, I believe. He was a champion. You were a champion from New Zealand. You had Pantoja was there. Tim Elliott, he was on like the American scene. And now that I sit back, I feel like that was probably the best cast of the Ultimate Fighter, because all you guys were champions in your own regions, right? I mean, you look at the Ultimate Fighter now, I don't even know if any of those guys are a champion in their own aspects, right? So I felt like that was like a legitimate Ultimate Fighter where it's like, you guys were all fucking good. All you guys were good. And it was a breath of fresh air for me to get the opportunity to be part of the Ultimate Fighter when I wasn't coaching. You had Henry Cejudo and you had Joseph Benavidez, who are also two pioneers of the flyweight division. Now, that's the first time you actually fought Pantoja. You guys actually fought in a house.
Yeah.
I believe it was the first fight, or what fight was that? First or second fight?
Second fight. Yeah, the quarterfinals.
Second fight. Yeah. Quarterfinals. Talk to me about that fight, because that fight was back and forth. Yeah. It was a tough fight. You were staying on your feet, sprawling and brawling, old school Chuck Liddell style. Yeah. Obviously we know Pantoja's, in my opinion, his greatest strength is the grappling. But talk to me about that first encounter you guys fought inside the House of Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, that was hard, making weight like every week for 7 weeks, flyweight. And, that I couldn't showcase my whole skill because I was just bro science back then. I just didn't eat. I was malnourished, like... You're not going to perform at your best when every week you're killing yourself just to make 125. And I remember being in the sauna with, I think it was Calvin Gaslam. He was one of the guest coaches with Cejudo. And he was in the sauna with me, making weight for that Pantoja fight. And I just remember, like, I'm not missing weight. Like, if I miss weight, then my opportunity's gone. So there was just no, like... It was just, I didn't have enough resources to kind of, knowing what I know now for weight cutting and how to prepare for, for a UFC fight. But for that fight, I not taking anything away from Pantoja. He definitely did what he needed to win. It was a close fight though, like on the ground, very even. I kept getting back to my feet on the stand up, pretty even as well. A lot of scrambles, a few exchanges. And he was just tough. Like he just kept coming forward, and that's what won him the fight, ring control. And I just had nothing in the tank on the second round. I just felt that like burning dry air in Vegas. That if you're not used to it, it's hard because it's a new it's just a new environment that you're not used to, and my body was kind of just in shock. That fight was 9 years ago, so a lot's happened since then.
It's fucking crazy. When you say, like, sometimes I'm hearing you tell your story, I'm like, fuck, am I that old? You make me sound like fucking old.
But you look like you're getting younger. You got some great genetics, bro. How old are you now?
Thanks, man. I'm 38. I'll be 39 in 2 months.
Well, you don't look 38.
Thanks, man. Okay, get back to your story. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just sitting here listening. I'm engaged in the conversation. Like, I'm trying to let you speak, but I'm like, fuck, I want to get in. Continue, my friend.
Just jump in whenever you want. Yeah, so that fight was close. Pantoja did what he needed to. I thought it would have gone to a third round. It was, closer than what people would expect, but it was an exhibition fight, so it's not on it's not on our record. So we have fought each other, but it's not an official fight. But I definitely had momentum coming into that fight because my first fight, I was the only one to get a knockout on the Ultimate Fighter. I fought a guy, Terrence Mitchell. He was quite tall for a flyweight. I think it was like 5'10" or 5'11", from Alaska. Yep. And then, ended up knocking him out in the first round, and then getting Dana White on his feet, saying, shit, this is how you start the show. Having a knockout on the flyweight division where it doesn't really happen. So that was kind of my introduction into the company and to the, I guess, to the new fan base to know who I am. Like training in Thailand for 4 years prior to this show, it really prepared me for it because you don't have your coaches, you don't have your teammates. You just got to go in there and back yourself and go in there with your skill set. So in Thailand, I was doing the same thing. I was cornering and coaching myself at some points of my of that time. I was fighting pretty much every week. I was fighting kickboxing or Muay Thai or MMA. I was traveling around every month in a new country, fighting. So in Asia, I was fighting in China, Japan, Taiwan, Philippines, Malaysia. Like I was in it, and I wasn't winning every fight, but I was gaining experience, and that's what was my kind of, that's my reasoning for being in Thailand, because everyone in Asia is pretty small, so I was going to get a lot of fights, and I just got good fighting so actively and so frequently. If I didn't win, I'd be like, okay, I got to do this differently my next fight and next month. I figured it out on the job. I wasn't just, trying to pad my record and trying to build my way up that way. I was just like, well, I'll figure this out, and I'm gaining experience through these fights. And then eventually I got on a 5-fight win streak, all by first round knockout. And that's when I got picked up for the Ultimate Fighter. So I just won a bout in Perth, Australia. So that was kind of my ticket to be on the Ultimate Fighter. And then, being on the Ultimate Fighter, I didn't get a contract after the show, even though I didn't win the show. I didn't get picked up. I ended up going to Japan and fighting in Ryzen. So I fought a guy, a tough Japanese kid. It was a good learning curve, a good experience for me. I learned how to not check a calf kick that fight, and from then onwards, I know shit. Like even one, if it lands the right way, it's gonna be a bad night for you in the office.
Yeah, them calf kicks, I fucking hate them calf kicks. Let me just go on record. I hate them motherfucking kicks. Everybody stop fucking cheating. Kick that motherfucking thigh so I can check it. And it's funny you mention that because when I fought Adriano the first time, he kicked me in the calf. And I feel like I'm pretty much in tune when I'm fighting. I'm doing my thing and I'm like, okay. But when somebody kicks me in the calf, it fucking pisses me off. It literally makes me so emotional. Yeah. I'm like, all right, motherfucker, kick me again. So
you want to play rough? Okay.
Yeah, you want to play? Yeah, it's like, so you want to play fucking rough? All right, it's a fucking party now. Like I check and it's like, it's a party. Now we're both fucking hurt. So you didn't get picked up from the UFC. You went to Ryzen.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought, was Ryzen around or was it Dream?
No, it was Ryzen back then. It was pretty cool.
Ryzen's been around. Wow.
Yeah, it was on the New Year's Eve show. I think Crow Cop was the main event with King Mo, I think. And I think Yuri was the co-main. So yeah, it was a cool show to be a part of, big bucket list fighting in Japan on the new Pride pretty much. But I knew I needed to do something different after that fight. And that's when I linked up with my coach, Eugene, and I was already training with him kind of when he would come to Thailand, on his way to China with Izzy and Brad. He would stop in Thailand and then we would just gel and I'd learn so much just in the few weeks he was there. And I remember saying like, fuck, I need to be around this and I need to go back home and be around that knowledge. Because in Thailand, I was getting good, but I'd got to a point in my career where I wasn't getting pushed enough and I wasn't being, held accountable, and I didn't have a coach that was telling me what I needed to hear. I was kind of, taking reign of my own training camps where you can't push yourself if you're doing that. So 4 years, I knew, okay, I need to go home where I'm going to get the best out of me. And Eugene, no bullshit, just said, if you want to get back into the UFC, you just need to turn up to training and the rest will take care of itself. So I just really trusted in him, trusted in the process. And was it 2 years later, I ended up making my UFC debut. So I actually needed to get on a 4 or 5 fight win streak after that Japan fight. They said, no, you need to build your record up again. And then we were just taking fights every few months. Some in Australia, some in China. And then I was training out of Auckland. So I was back home with my family, back at my dad's. And yeah, training out of CKB in Auckland. And then 2018, Izzy surprised me. Izzy, I remember he just fought in the UFC. I think twice. He just had 2 fights in the UFC, and it wasn't like unfamiliar, like doing like a thank you for everyone for helping out in his camps. And then at training one night, there was a TV in front of, on the mats. And then, Izzy's like, oh, we're just going to put a video to say thank you to everyone. And then Dana White popped up, and then he said my name. And then he said, Kai, you're finally in the UFC.
Wow.
So it was a cool moment because, Izzy helped huge and helped me get that deal across the table. Because I remember him meeting Dana, and then Izzy was saying, we need to get Kai in the UFC. And he said, oh, we'll get him on the Contenders or something like that. And he said, no, he's already done the Ultimate Fighter. He's ready. And he said, okay, we'll pick him up. So that's what's always been one of the big things about our gym at CKB is putting down the ladder for the next guy, helping them get their opportunity. And then from there, that's all we need. Just an opportunity, and we'll do the rest, and look what I've done in my career just from that moment. So been in the UFC, 6 years now, a part of the kind of staple of the top 5. And big moment for me coming up next week.
Wow. Well, you just gave me a full circle story because, I was kind of curious, like, okay, you left home, you stay in Thailand, you do that for 4 years, you're taking all these fights everywhere, and you're basically coaching yourself. And then I'm like, okay, so where does he get hooked up with Izzy and Eugene? And then that's where it does when you meet up with them. When you're an Ultimate Fighter, how much weight were you cutting? Because a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people don't watch the Ultimate Fighter now like they did back in the day. Like the Ultimate Fighter was the shit that you watch, right? Like every week there's a new episode. How much weight did you cut when you're in the house? Like how big do you get? What's your weight cut?
I don't know it in pounds, but I know it in kgs. So I was walking around probably 69 kgs, 69.
God damn, you bigger than me.
Yeah, that was back then. So I was young and just stupid. Like I would eat whatever I want, and then I'll just do this like massive weight cut.
152. What do you walk around now in kgs?
No, I walk around about like 64 now.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're more in shape now. Okay. I was like, goddamn, 152?
Well, I'm 32
I was like,
now, bro. I can't keep doing those massive weight cuts. I'm too old.
Okay. So, wow. So that's so huge discrepancy. So chat, if you or fans, if you don't know, 69 kilograms is 152 pounds, and then 64 kilograms is 141 pounds. So that's a huge drastic. That's like you're walking around 10 pounds lighter than you were when you're an Ultimate Fighter house. So that's why those weight cuts were fucking killing you.
Yeah,
when you were doing that every single fucking week. Oh my god.
Yeah, I wasn't cutting from exactly that weight, but I was cutting pretty high, like high 60s, and just not eating. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I was just going off like, if I feel like shit, I'm on the right path to making weight. And then it does. Just being that young, bro, like early 20s, you're like, oh, I'll bounce back from this. Like, and then it was just like that emotional kind of relationship you have with food. It was pretty bad, just like binge eating, and now I know like. It's just learning curve being a professional athlete all year round. It's just only going to help yourself. And, you don't want to be doing these fat camps before you actually start a camp or while you're in a camp. You want to actually like have some sort of base. So when you're in a 10, 12 week camp, you can take your training to the next level and, injury management, energy output, performance, so many things that you need to do at the highest level. But back then I was just like, well, We'll find out, and we'll figure this thing out as we go. But yeah, it wasn't ideal.
Gotcha. When you came back home after the Ultimate Fighter, you went to Ryzen. You came back home. you stayed home a little bit. What did your family think about it, right? Like, I want to know the dynamic with your father. He was a lawyer. You said your brother was a lawyer. They're all successful. And then here you come on back home after, you know, some would look at it as failure. Your dad's like, you see, son, you should have took your ass to university and got in the family business as a lawyer. What was that like? Like, did they welcome you back home? Did you feel defeated? Because a lot of people, when they come into mixed martial arts, even today's age, you know, they want to be a professional fighter. They want to be in the UFC. They want to be in one championship, PFL, whatever it may be. Yeah. And they don't have success and they go back home and they stop. But for you, you kept on going. What was the dynamic like when you came home? You got your brother, he's all got a suit and tie. He was like, I'm about to go put this motherfucker behind jail. What was your mindset?
Well, I was just like, well, fuck, what else am I going to do? I'm not good at anything else. So it was like, well, shit, I have to figure this out because I've already invested too much time into this. Like, I can't quit now. I'm too far in. Like, I made a promise to myself, like, I got myself into this and I'll get myself out. So my parents and my family have always been supportive. I'm not going to say like they didn't tell me like, hey, we can't keep funding this fantasy that you're living. Like, go get a real job and you know, go back to school. I was getting those all the time, but I was just like, nah, like, this is what I want to do. Like, I'm passionate about this. I know this is what I like. I had to fight for this dream, and you know, it all paid off. You know, and when I did make my debut, and all my family flew over to Australia to come watch me, they all knew like, shit, he really committed to this. And something that I didn't do growing up. I always flaked out of things or like never finished things. Whatever I started. And that was, it was just something that I knew that I needed to finish this, and I will see it through. So yeah.
What gave you the idea? Like, I'm sitting here listening. I'm like, you know, usually people have like a pathway to go fight, right? Like, I mean, you know, what made you want to fight? Essentially, like, they took you to jiu-jitsu, and from that you just fell in love with it, and then you just like, because I feel like you said after high school you knocked somebody out, but then you was like, fuck it, I'm out. I'm going to Thailand, and you go by yourself. Like, what stemmed that?
Well, I played sport all my life. Like, soccer was my main thing. I wanted to be in our New Zealand soccer team. It's called the All Whites. It was the team that I wanted to be a part of. But I knew like maybe 15 that I wasn't going to crack it, because you need to be in those development teams like early on, and you need to be like developed and pretty much put in those teams to build your way up. And I wasn't getting picked up. I was a good player, but I wasn't like the next best player. I was kind of over team sports, and that's why I gravitated towards martial arts, because it's all on you. I didn't want to have a team to rely on. I just wanted to rely on myself, and that's where I got the ultimate fulfillment. Getting in the ring, it wasn't just like getting in the ring, it was the journey to get there, and you know, the training that you have to do, and I just knew like that's what I wanted to do. So yeah.
Now, did you watch something? Did you see like The Ultimate Fighter, or was it like? Because what I'm getting at is like, for me, I saw the Ultimate Fighter, and that's like, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym and start hitting the fucking bag. But from you, it seems like, you know, your dad's a lawyer, your brother's a lawyer. I'm not sure what your mother does. So nobody in your family does any martial arts. No. And all of a sudden you just pack your bags like, fuck it, boys. I'm out. I'm going to Thailand. I'm going to get me, you know, some hand jobs and all that shit over there. I'm out. And so I'm like, where the fuck? Like, did you watch Ultimate Fighter?
No, so our coach back then when I first started jiu-jitsu, his name's Kahuba. He was one of the pioneers for mixed martial arts in New Zealand. And back then it was like no holds bar, like no gloves, like pride rules, like head stomps. So I didn't know it back then. I was like, why has this guy always got black eyes and like beaten up and taken our kids class? And then I didn't. It wasn't until like I watched one of his fights, and it's like he's in karate pants. He's like head stomping, and like it's brutal. But that's where our sport came from, especially in New Zealand, like the K1 days. So on K1, they had kickboxing as well as MMA fights as well. Back then, was like early, mid 2000s.
K1 Heroes is when I first got introduced to the K1 with mixed martial arts. K1 Heroes, Bibiano fought Kid Yamamoto on that one.
Yeah, so that was kind of my first exposure, and then started watching The Ultimate Fighter as well, and I guess being in New Zealand, kickboxing such a massive platform to be a part of. Before the UFC, kickboxing was our best thing to be a part of. And being part of City Kickboxing, we have a big lineage of where our gyms come from. So most of our gyms come from Balmoral Liga, which was the guys that grew up in the K1. So a part of Balmoral Liga was Ray Sefo, Mark Hunt. One of my coaches, Doug Viney. So all these guys have won the K1 pre Max, which is the pinnacle of kickboxing back then. And then
I fucking miss K1.
Yeah, it was awesome. But then full circle, we developed an MMA program that can harness that kickboxing skill, but then developed into for MMA. So for being in the UFC. So you say like you have knockouts and stuff on your record. My coach knew that was going to be the fastest way and the most appealing way to build your brand. And if it was jiu-jitsu or wrestling, that's all we would be training. But people don't want to see that. They want to see people get knocked out. And that's what we harnessed our skills into, learning how to defend takedowns, scramble, but then let your hands go, and put pressure on guys and find those finishes. So I was getting finishes in Thailand, but I didn't really refine my skill set until I came back to City Kickboxing and trained with Eugene, and just were a lot more intentional on what I was doing and more I can be more patient and find that right shot. Well, I don't need to waste energy, trying to flurry and do all these things that won't necessarily get me the finish. I needed to be more precise, set things up better. And then when I do find the right time, it's more instinct for me now. I have all the tools to do it. Putting it all together, and that's where we're at now. So, I've had a few finishes in the UFC. At the start, I wasn't getting finishes, and people say, where does this nickname come from? Don't blink, because you don't really get knockouts. But when I got
they're all talking shit. They're like, what the fuck? Don't blink. I blunked though. What are you talking about?
I think it was Izzy's dad that brought it up. He's like, I blinked many times your last fight. Where's these knockouts? And I was like, come on, bro. Like, just let me find my feet first. I'm just learning on the job, and I'll get one. And then eventually when I got my first knockout, I think it was against that Rogerio Bontorin. I finished him in the first round, and then after that fight, I think I fought Cody Garbrandt, and then finished him in the first round, and then just started to put things together. So you got to be like, to get knockouts, it's not about having power.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
And
especially
it's
at
hard.
flyweight, it's about speed. Like, power doesn't really translate at flyweight. You got to have the speed to be able to keep up with the pace, and then execute when you need to, because you're always going to be in a scramble or some sort of you're just constantly moving, so it's hard to hit a moving target.
Yeah. Well, I love how I felt the knockout you did against Cody Garbrandt put you on the map, because, you had Cody, he was a world champion at one time at 135. He beat Dominic Cruz. He had his back and forth war with TJ, that drama. And then, everybody thinks the way to solve the problem is go down to a different division, right? TJ did it. He got whooped by Henry Cejudo. Cody did it and you whipped him. And I felt like that was the first time you were starting to set up your shot, because you hit him and then you're following up, and then you're we call it riding the horse in, and then you ride the horse in, you hit with the right hand, uppercut, and then you just knock him out. And it was like, holy shit, this guy just knocked out a former world champion. And that's where I felt like everybody was like, okay, don't blink. This guy has power in the flyweight division. I feel like it was you and Figueiredo. Like, you guys were knocking people out at that time frame in the division. I mean, even now when you look at the flyweight division, nobody's really not, I mean, you have Manel Cop who's knocking people out, but other than that, you know, Pantoja submitting people, Brendan Moreno is kind of all over the place. So I feel like you have that power. And then you knocked out Steve Ersic. So I feel like you are one of the guys in that division. It's like, take his ass down. Don't stand with them. Don't blink because you might knock you the fuck out.
Yeah, that's it. But I've got probably one of the best takedown defenses in the flyweight division. So I don't get taken down much. And that's just being, I guess, being able to stay on my feet, find my openings when I do need to scramble, explode when I need to. But then, like, we're city kickboxing, but we probably wrestle more than we kickbox. And that's just because we know that these guys are trying to get us down. Like, there's no secret. They don't want to stand with us. But it's not saying that they can't stand with us. It's just having that in your game. But yeah, I guess just being patient, not forcing things, especially in that Cody fight. I knew he was going to come forward, and he's most dangerous when he is hurt. So I knew, like, okay, something's coming back. I just need to find that shot. So, like, I was going to the chest a lot because the body's always going to be there. The head's going to be moving a lot. He's going to be able to, like, he's got really good head movement. But if I stick him to the chest, it's going to kind of throw him off. And at least I know I have connection. So then eventually, I just found my range. And then from there, I just have, like, set combos that I know that it's like muscle memory for me. I can just throw it just as a switch, and then just landed that shot that I needed to. All the different angles, that jab, and then that uppercut that caught him. So when people talk about, like, oh, Cody doesn't have a chin, like, bro, he's durable. Like, you've seen it in his last few fights. He can take a punch. He's been fighting at bantamweight and he's not getting finished. It kind of takes away the credit of what I did in that fight when they just, he doesn't have a chin now going to flyweight. It just took his durability away. But it's like, well, what do you say about Steve then? Is he not durable? He just took Moreno to a 5-round fight. He took Pantoja to a 5-round.
Pantoja to a 5-round fight.
So, like, it's nothing to do with these guys that I'm fighting. It's the way that I'm hitting them. It's the accuracy and precision. And it's just timing. You know, when you have someone, when you set it up the right way, you catch them with those punches that they don't see coming. Those are the ones that are going to hurt. And then after you have them hurt, it's been able to be clinical to get them out. You know, you can showboat and try, like, do what Manel does, and he just looks at you. He doesn't really do anything. He's not really much of a threat, And if he is, he's got to make it to the fight, and usually he'll do something to fuck it up. That's just him. And people are looking forward to the press conference and him being there next week. But he's got this massive alibi and what happened in his fight and fight camp, and he's got all the photos to back it up. But bro, if this is happening all the time, 11 fights that it's been pulled out, I know it's not always your fault, but it's your energy. Your energy's off, and that's what's happening. That's what I can see. But going back on what we're talking about, just finding the right shot, just being clinical when you need to, and finding it.
Yeah, I think when you look at this fight, and I feel, I was at the gym today, I was working out, and I was like, I feel like flyweight's at it's a great time to be a fan of the flyweight division. Not that there were, everybody's all the flyweights are boring, but I feel like you have Brendan Royval, Brandon's about to take on, who's stepping up? You have Joshua Vaughn stepping up, and then you also have Pantoja, Vechain Asakura. It's a great time because, obviously, you got guys who are up and coming. You have Manel Cop there. You have Muhammad Makhachev out there doing his own thing. So it's a great time to be part of the division. One of the things that when I was looking up, why were you as active? Like, there's a point in time where you fought like once in 2000 and 2021, it probably could be due to COVID. Then 2022, you fought twice. 2023, you fought, like, I feel like there was a lot of inactivity. Were you injured, or were you just trying to find fights, or were you taking time off? Why was there such a big, usually you want to fight twice, sometimes 3 times a fucking year. Yeah. But I feel like for you, there was like some choppiness of your activity.
Probably because I was a dad. and I had my hands full, bro. I didn't know what I'd got myself into. I wasn't sleeping. I was just overwhelmed. Me and my wife with our newborn, with our firstborn son, he was hard, and it was a lot. Like just a shock. You're not on your own schedule anymore. You know, you're responsible for this life, and through like post COVID and stuff, just finding like normality again of like what life is. And I wasn't ready to like get in a fight camp. I was like, bro, I'm in a fight camp right now. I'm fighting for my life.
I respect that. Yeah. I respect that because a lot of athletes don't talk about that, right? Like when I was looking at looking at Sherdog, and I was okay, he hasn't been active. Like, why has he been active? Was he injured? Was he not want to take fights? But I don't think people realize how hard it is to have children during a professional career, especially fighting, right? Because you're not making, if you're a basketball player or a football player, you're getting, fucking millions and millions of dollars. You hire a nanny as like, baby, you go to the gym, the nanny go take care of, I'm gonna go work out. In mixed martial arts, the last fucking pay, homeboy made $14,000 a show and $14 to win, and he fucking lost. He only got $14,000. I don't pay for shit. Yeah. So that's why you weren't as active, because you were taking time to spend with the wife and the kids and get back to trying to find some type of normalcy and not just put it all on your wife.
Yeah, 100%. Like I wasn't going to do that. And it's not fair to always just take, this is a selfish sport. And if you're not giving that back to your family and making sure that they're the priority, then I feel like it's always going to be contradicting. So yeah, I knew that I didn't want to sacrifice family to get to where I want to be. I want to bring them with me. And, when we had our second child, it was a lot easier because we had already gone through it. And you would know, having, children, that it's a lot, when you have your routine and there's, okay, I've gone through the worst. The second one can't be as full on. You're just more ready for it. And, now where I'm at in my life, and where my family is, we're just in a great place. Everything's really, I love being a father. I love being a husband. It's what fulfills me. It's what fuels me. It's what gets me out of bed, even though, I don't want to get out of bed if I'm tired or, drained or all of that. You just put that to the side and be like, well, they're relying on me to make this work. And, that when I first started the sport, I had different motives. Now, have being a family man, that's my motive. That's my why. That's my purpose. So just gives me kind of clarity to go after it. And my sons are watching me, they're watching me do this. And, the other day at one of my Shark Tank workouts, I was hanging on a chin-up bar, like third round, building up to that 5-round title fight. Just putting in the volume now. I was on a chin-up bar holding it for 30 seconds, and I just see my boy at the bottom of me going, go dad, go dad. I'm like, shit, I can't drop now. But like, it just fuels me knowing that they're watching their dad do this now in the flesh, going after what he wants, and their sponges soaking all that in. And the gym and CKB is such a family oriented gym where there's kids running around all the time. My oldest just started boxing. He loves it. He's got about 10 minutes of like focus, and then it's all gone. But for that 10 minutes, you can see like he's probably got mum's coordination and athleticism. It's not from my side. It's definitely from mum, where he's really good at like holding his hands high, like defending, slipping punches. He just gets it. So it's cool seeing your kids love what you do, and they think it's fun, so then they just want to do it. And they know the difference between hurting someone and a sport. They said, oh no, that's what daddy does. It's training. And on the playground at his kohanga, like really, really sensitive and really compassionate, and looks after all the other babies and makes sure that, they're taken care of. So it's cool to see that side to him. But yeah, it's a big part of what we do, making sure that we're protectors, providers, and yeah, we figure this out.
Yeah. Now it gives more clarification on why it was so spotty in that time frame. Because I was sitting there and me and Michael were like, wow, he hasn't been as active, but now we have.
Well, I did get injured as well. Something I learned, like I got a stretch. I had a really bad back injury. I think it was more like sciatica. Was that in 23, I think. Yeah, and it just was so bad that it just locked up. I couldn't walk for like 2-3 months. So I had,
damn.
Yeah, I think there was just pressure of not sleeping and just not looking after my body enough. So I had to be a bit more just warming up, warming down. Jumping in a sauna and an ice bath isn't stretching. That's just putting a patch on the problem, eh?
I fucking love it because I don't stretch.
Yeah.
I take 1 day a week to do sauna. I mean, I stretch before I do my jiu-jitsu training.
Yeah.
But I only train twice. It's like, but after I'm done training, I'm out. I'm tired of the 10 rounds. I don't want to fucking stretch. And I'll do ice and sauna to like reset my body. So when you said sauna ice, that shit ain't stretching. I'm like, the fuck it ain't. It helps it helps me get back to the gym on Monday morning.
Well, if it works for you, like I'm just from experience, it wasn't helping me.
Yeah.
It was actually making it worse. The ice was stiffening up my back more. And it was just, I didn't listen to the signs. The signs were there and I just pushed them to the side. Nah, I'll be fine. And then it humbled me. It humbled me really bad. And then I ended up I got through that injury and then I ended up getting a head knock in training, sparring too close. And that was when my second son was born. My second boy was born that same week. I should have been at the hospital. When your mind's just like somewhere else. And I was back and forth from the hospital training for a fight. I think I was supposed to fight Manel for that camp. And then, just wasn't focused on the task in front of me and ended up getting caught with, I think, a kick or a punch or something. And then I sparred a few days later and that's when the head knock came on really bad. And I just felt like drunk. I felt like out of it, just not my normal self, nauseous. And that was for a few days. It wasn't just the day. So I knew I've got something here. I need to be patient. So I took 6 months off contact and it was the best decision. So it gave me time to like spend time with my family, let things settle. A lot of times, I guess, especially as men, we push away problems and we don't face them head on. And it allowed me to kind of just let things do what it needs to. And that's with injury, that's with family time. And it was actually a really nice time to not have to be anywhere and not put pressure on when I needed to get back into fighting. So yeah, and then at that time I became a wrestling coach for a rugby team. So like we talked about having pressure of having to fight because you need to provide.
Yeah.
I was just doing other things outside of fighting, putting my energy into that as well. So I became a wrestling coach for the New Zealand Warriors, which is a rugby league team. So I'm a part of their team. I've been a part of their team for 3 years now. So just help them.
Now, is that high school? Is that a high school professional? What level is this?
Yeah, professional. So this
how in the hell is somebody who's, what are you, 5'4", 5'5"?
5'5" on a good day.
5'5" on a good day. How the hell is a 141 pound 5'5" man gonna be a fucking wrestling coach for a rugby team? These motherfuckers are monsters. How does that even work?
Well, the thing is, if I can get you down and hold you down, and you're 100 kgs, then like I'm doing something right. And it's like, shit, okay,
let's fucking go. Good for you, man.
Yeah, we need to buy into this because what he's doing is something that we need to be doing. If we're 100 kgs and we're doing what he's doing, man, this is going to be a game changer on the field. So it's been awesome, like just having them buy into martial arts for rugby, and it's just looking at the same thing with a different lens. So I'm not teaching them how to play rugby. I'm not trying to bring in. I'm not an expert at rugby. I'm an expert at technique in this position, which is pretty much wrestling, but how to hold someone down, body weight to distribution to make yourself heavier than you are, but also just the mindset of not giving up. That's something I bring into. So it's more of like a leadership role as well as I'm just another voice to motivate the players when, the coach has been talking a lot and okay, we need to bring an extra, just a tool to kind of get an edge from the team and from the players just to bring in their best. So it's been awesome. Like this year we're second on the table. So we play mostly in Australia. We have like half and half games. Some in New Zealand at our home game. at Mount Smart, just in Auckland, and then the rest they're flying over to Oz most weekends and playing over there. So we've never won the comp before. We've been in the comp for 25 years. So I grew up watching this team. A lot of tears, a lot of heartaches, a lot of.
You're like, God damn it! Just give me one conference, please.
Right. Well, that's like I was at the grand final 2011 with my dad and my brother, and we didn't win. We lost. But like full circle, being a part of the club now, and like the coaches are the players that I used to watch. So it's like pretty cool just to be like, shit, like look how far I've come, but also like being in all these other spaces that I'm not usually in, like not in the martial arts community, being like in this rugby community now where just of service to the team, seeing how we can do it better every year, and just that mutual respect from the players. And I'm still in my career, so like I just had their training yesterday. I had their last training with me. They're playing this weekend at home, and you know, even though I've got a big fight coming up, I knew like I want to be around them and feed off them. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, this man has got. Are you part-time, full-time, or are you what? I mean, I feel like you're a fucking rugby coach. You're like, all right, guys, you guys want to do rugby on 3, 1, 2, 3, rugby. I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm gonna go to Vegas and fucking, you know, try to whoop on a boy, win this world title. I'll be like, I'm just like, you're a fucking rugby coach, man. Well, like I'm passionate about this team. Like I grew up with this team, and to be a part of them, it's like it's. People don't realize how like big this is, and like after my career, this is what I'll be doing, being a part of a rugby.
I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah,
I feel that's what you're gonna do after your. I feel like you're getting a glimpse of like what your future is gonna be like. Where a lot of people who are in mixed martial arts at the highest level, about to fight for a world title.
Yeah.
You know, might say, "Oh, it's not okay for him to be thinking about this," but I think it's actually good because you're doing it for the love of the sport, right? You don't, in my opinion, people might say I shouldn't be saying this, but I don't think you need it, which is, I feel like makes you more dangerous because you enjoy it, right? Like, you know, if all ships fail, you're like, I have another love. Where a lot of people who fight in mixed martial arts are like, I fucking need this, right? You heard Sugar Sean O'Malley. He was like, I was so attached to the name Sugar. I was so attached to it, right? So I stopped jerking. I stopped smoking. I stopped doing all that stuff. He goes out, fights Marab, comes up short. Now he's back home. He's got his newborn child. And he goes, this makes a lot easier. But I feel like for you, you have something that's giving you life besides mixed martial arts. You've been you've been watching this team, you and your dad and your brother, and now you're a part of the team and you're helping them win. And it's this is why I like doing this show, because I would have fucking thought that you were part of a goddamn rugby team. You're a coach. You know what I mean? Like I'm sitting there, I'm like this. It's just crazy.
It's pretty cool. Like I do preseason with them as well. Like I'm on the field. There's no one else on the field but their players, and I'm on the field like trying to pass the rugby ball and like just show them that like I'll do what they do. So when we're on the mats, then when we're in my world, there's 100% commitment to it. But like you said before, I don't need this world title to validate who I am and my happiness. You know, I've never needed that. Having my family, that's, you know, seeing my wife, my 2 boys look at me like I'm already a world champion. That's what I invest my energy and my love into. We win in this world title. It means a lot to me, but it's not everything. And it's something I haven't ticked off. So that's definitely one of my big motivators. Is I started this promise to myself to be a world champion, and I want to keep that promise. But yeah, it's just enjoying the journey that comes in this with the fight game, the highs and the lows, and just going through it. I feel like that's one of my biggest strengths. I've felt it all, the good and the bad, the highs and the lows, the losses and the wins, and I've learned from it. And here I am, you know, still fighting and figuring this thing out. But also, I'm very content with where I'm at, because there's so much more to what we're doing, and it's just about trying to enjoy the process rather than trying to get to the end line or the end result and then everything's banked on that one moment or like that saying, what are they, that I saw on Instagram recently, it's not the pursuit of happiness, it's the happiness of the pursuit. So enjoying that ride. And like fighting and being in the UFC fighter, it's my mahi, it's my job, it's what people know me for, but it's not my identity. It's not like everything that it's wrapped around. My identity is me being, a husband, a father, a brother, a son, and me being Māori. So, that's in my blood. My culture is my anchor. And it just, I don't have to put on an ego or put on a mask. And that brings me back to why I do that pukana. So pukana is a facial expression that sets the tone before we go into battle. So that's what my people, my tupuna would have done. And when I do the pukana, when I take my hand and I pull back my face and stick out my tongue, that's me revealing my pure form, where there's no ego. I'm not trying to, put on this act, put on this show. I'm revealing the purest form of myself. And that's me not putting on a mask, not putting on an ego, not putting on this false sense of entitlement, or projecting, who I want people to see me as. I'm just being myself, unapologetically and authentically Māori. And that's what I bring to the world stage. I'm not doing this because, I need to do this because that's who everyone knows me as. I'm doing this because it's me. This is what I don't know anyone else. I don't know how to be anyone else but myself. So yeah, that's why I feel like this fight's bigger than me. And you'll see this coming on Countdown fight week. We did a haka in the cage. The UFC had never seen that before. American fans have never seen this before. But I'm doing this because I want to showcase our culture and show you how unique this is, and allow, not just people from around the world, but my own people to know that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to, lean into your culture, because that's your fuel source. That's we call it your modi. That's your life source that you can feed off. So when you're walking out to your fight, well, for me, I know that I'm not alone. I have all my ancestors and my tupuna behind me. So when I'm in there, I'm not alone, and I can I can use that and channel it, and go out there and bring this belt back to Aotearoa, New Zealand, back to CKB, back to the Warriors. It means so much more than just for me. It means hope. It means inspiration for the next, UFC fighter coming from Aotearoa, New Zealand, for the next, whatever you want to do. Like, I'm just showcasing that, and it's for my boys as well. They're looking at me, knowing that if Dad can do it, why can't I?
Would you want your kids to fight? Would you would you want them to fight, or would you nah, I want you guys do something else? Or if they want to do it, then you'll be behind them.
I want them to play like a sport that can actually make money, and like golf or tennis or something, bro.
You know what?
Bro.
My mom said the same thing. She goes, meaty. She called me meaty when I was a kid growing up, because I'll eat so much fucking meat and I wouldn't get. I'll still be bony, so she calls me meaty bone. She goes, meaty, why don't you play fucking baseball? They're so fucking rich. They you just get out there. You out there get your ass kicked and beat people up for pennies compared to the baseball players. So, hey, good for you, because I told my boys I don't want them to fight. I was like, go to school, get education, and then now they're playing football. And I think my oldest Tyron, he is fascinated with the football players, because they got the chains, they got the grills, they got fast cars, and they're athletic, they're buff. And I'm like, all right, well, at least, if he can make it in football, at least he'll be making some good ass money instead of, 14 and 14 and shit.
Even if he's on the bench, he still cracked it. Like,
exactly.
That's all we need. We don't need you to be a starter. You can just be a bench warmer. You're still on the team.
Yeah.
But same with me.
That's true.
I want to teach my kids how to fight, but I don't want them to be fighters. Like, it's the lifestyle. It's hard, and like, it's not for everyone. Like, to get beaten up every day and keep turning up, like, there's got to be something wrong with you, and there's got to be like trauma or something that you're fighting, and we all have it. It's our way of, this is how we express ourselves. But yeah, for my kids, I'd feel like I'd rather get them into everything and just let them figure it out. If he does want to fight, then I have to be in his corner. I have to, you know, be a part of that journey. But if I can, you know, help it,
Persuade him otherwise. Like, you don't need to do it. Don't do it, son. You don't need to do
bat
that.
in your hand and, you know, get a good technique going, or even like
Your
rugby.
son, yeah, your son's all there. He's like, ha, ha, ha. You're like, no, son, no. Yeah, there you go.
There you
That's
go.
what we want you to do.
Or the golf swing as well. Yeah, tennis.
Yeah. I
Slowly
fucking love it.
get that going. But yeah, if he does want to play rugby, like it's such a big sport in our country. Like I would definitely rather go on a rugby game than to like a baseball or cricket. Like just like 6-7 hours on the sideline, and it's like, what are we watching?
And then you have to come back the next day if you don't fucking finish it.
Yeah.
When I went to Australia,
Yeah.
that was on TV. I watched I don't know how much fucking cricket and rugby, and I love rugby.
Yeah.
And I watch cricket, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I'll get back in bed and turn on. And I was like, weren't these motherfuckers here yesterday? And my
Yeah.
buddy goes, they have to come back and finish the game the next day. And I was like, wow, that's dedication. That is dedication.
And imagine a parent like doing that every day, every weekend. Just wasting your weekend sitting on the sideline. Nah, fuck that.
Oh God. Okay, we got big fight. I know I'm sure mom and the kids will be home soon, so we're gonna try to finish this up.
Yeah.
You got a big fight. It's coming up. You got to travel to Las Vegas against Alex Pantoja. Tell me about like how do you make the adjustments for the time zone change, because that's something you have to do every single time when you fight. You're coming from New Zealand to Las Vegas. The climate's definitely different. The hot ass air.
Yeah.
How do you make that adjustments getting ready to fight in Las Vegas?
So it's fucking cold now in New Zealand. I don't know the degrees this morning, but I had like 5 layers on. Just
Wow.
Yeah, just trying to get through training. So it'd definitely be a shock. I saw the weather in Vegas and it's like 40 degrees or something, which is we're going to be sweating. But we get there on the Sunday, so we have our last Shark Tank that morning. So and then we fly out that night. I think I land at 9 a.m. on Sunday in Vegas. It just get into your normal routine. I won't go to sleep until that night. And then we'll train at night as well at the PI, just every day leading up to the fight. Just getting my body clock adjusted to moving at that time. So like we've done it so many times now. I fought in Vegas 7-8 times. That's why I've fought Cody. So I've done it all before. So we have a routine. We have a set trainings. I have most of my normal setup there. My nutritionist Geordie, the fight dietitian, he'll be flying with me. My family will get in midweek. So yeah, like it's comfortable. Like I've fought there so many times now that I have everything that I need. So yeah, leading up to for this fight, I'm in like really good weight right now. I've only have like a few kgs to cut to flyweight. So it's been a great camp. Like I'm not going to say that I'm not bringing in my best, because I feel like this camp I've ticked everything off. And game plan wise, we're ready for Pantoja. We're ready for the violence and the fight that he brings. I want to bring the fight to him, and I want to test myself. I'm not scared to go into the ground with this guy. Like he can try get me down. He can try like get on my back and try choke me out. Like many people have tried, and I'll find a way and I'll find an answer to get out. But yeah, on the feet, just really comfortable to wherever the fight goes, get back to my feet, be patient, find my shots, and just not be overwhelmed. I feel like that's what the difference from that Kai Asakura fight was. It's different in the UFC. Like you can fight all around the world, but fighting your first time for the belt in the UFC, like it's a lot. And if you're not ready for it, you're going to be overwhelmed. You can think you're ready for it, but until you're in there and feel that pressure, it will show. So, having already fought for the world title against Moreno, obviously not going my way, but being able to like go through that and harness that experience for this time, I can use that to help me. So yeah, I'm ready for this, like physically, mentally, and spiritually, just ready to take this guy on and take him out. I want to be the first guy to finish Pantoja in the UFC, and I've got the skill sets, and yeah, I've got it all to get that done.
I can't wait. You said one thing that I haven't heard anybody say it before they come into a fight is be prepared to be overwhelmed. Right? Like I think that's one thing that Pantoja does very well is he overwhelms. It's something I do too when I fight. I overwhelm my opponents. I'm always takedown. Oh, he's defending. Oh, go underneath. Oh, do this. And I feel that's what he does very well. He overwhelms people. Or who just fought Merab versus Sean? Like, do people having the mindset like I'm physically and I'm mentally ready to be overwhelmed and I'm going to take the fight to him? So I'm excited to see how this fight goes because, obviously anything can happen. It's a fight, but we know where your strengths are and we know where Pantoja's strengths are. Who's going to be able to execute it? And that's what gets me excited about this fight with you versus Pantoja. And then obviously the other flyweights are coming up. You have another matchup on the card, Vaughn taking on Brandon Royval. I mean, I think it's a good time to be a fan of the flyweight division because they got guys like you. My old, ass is out of there. Everybody said I was boring. Now they can watch you knock people out. Don't blink because that's what Kai's going to try to do as he takes on Alex Pantoja in Las Vegas. I'm super excited for it, man.
Well, you paved the way, bro. Like, I got to give you your flowers to know that, like, this is everything that you've done for the division, done for the sport. And you can sit back and eat your popcorn and just enjoy the just enjoy the show. You don't have to worry about getting calf kicked and getting angry. Leave it to us.
Fuck. Dude, like I tell you, man, I'm so chill. My wife never sees me mad, but calf kick and there's something else that pisses me off. I'm not gonna say it because I don't want people to try to do it to me. It's like the last time somebody did it, I was like, let's go, motherfucker. It's game time. Let's you want to fucking play this game? We're going to play this fucking game.
I'm fucking 38, bro. I don't need this shit in my life.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I was like, what are you fucking doing, man? He goes, I'm sorry. And I'm like, fucking, I'm over it. Before I let you go, I got to let my man Michael get in here. Michael, what you got for Kai before the kids and the wife come home?
So what I wanted to ask, you got a banger main event, your co-main event. And honestly, I'm hoping you're getting, you don't have to tell us, but I hope you're getting pay-per-view points because this is a banger main event. Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira. What are your thoughts on that matchup and what's your prediction?
I love Charles. He's the man. I've met him a few times and he's just like the people's champ. His story and like his journey that he's had in the UFC. It's just like, that's what I love about the sport. You can't count anyone out. And even, his rough start in the UFC or where he was at, and then to go on this massive win streak, win the belt, defend it, like, how can you not love him? And like, just meeting him in person, he's just such a relatable person. Like, he's just a fan favorite. Like, I've done a few guest fighters with him, a guest appearance with him on Fight Week. And yeah, just really liked him. Well, like gravitated towards him, just not just a fighter, but just as a normal guy. Yeah, loved his energy. But Ilia is one of the best guys in the UFC right now. His skill set is he's so good at what he does, and like what we talked about, being really selective of his shots and really precise. He's one of the best to do it. Like to take out Max, to finish Max, like no one does that. To finish Volk, one of my teammates, like this is like one in a lifetime kind of athlete. So yeah, it's a unique matchup because on the ground, Oliveira is so dangerous, and he doesn't mind getting taken down or giving up the takedown to get to his back, but also his hands what's it called? They're not as respected as they should be because he is dangerous on his feet. Like he's got great Muay Thai and he's finished fights standing. So he just don't know what to expect. I don't know if Ilia thinks he's going to walk through Oliveira. He might, but you just never know. He might, get caught on the way in thinking overly confident, okay, I can take this guy out, and then end up on the ground, half rocked, and Oliveira jumps on his neck, and it's a wrap. So I'm intrigued about this matchup. It's a great main event. You know, people are going to be tuning in, but the best thing about it is they're going to more eyes, so I can steal the spotlight. When I knock out Pantoja, the first one to do it in the UFC, and win this bout, you know, more people are going to be or know who I am and jump on board and be like, shit, that he's the face of the flyweight division, you know. This is the guy that we want to be as a champ, a finisher, a guy that goes for the knockouts. But yeah, everyone back home where in New Zealand's going to be watching this, tuning in. I'm going to feel all that support from back home and channel that and use it to help me bring in my best. So I'm ready for it. When I make that walkout, just know that's one of your own that is representing. And yeah, I can't wait to do it.
I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it. Now, Kai, I appreciate you giving us all your time. This is your opportunity to let people know how they can support you. Drop your social, Instagram, Twitter. The floor is yours, brother.
I appreciate it, bro. People that want to follow me, Kai Kara France on Instagram. I've got my new merch dropping, I think this Sunday, the day that I leave. My own clothing brand coming out, KKF, my initials with my friend's brand, it's a really popular brand in New Zealand. So we've got official merch coming out this weekend. So have a look out on for that. You'll get it before the fight. Obviously, got my Engage sponsor as well. We do supporter tees for me if you like them. And then, some exciting things coming up. I've got some cool content coming up for Fight Week as well. So, jump on board, enjoy the ride, and let's get it done. And you.
What about the rugby team? I want to know about the rugby team, goddammit.
The Warriors, up the Waz is what we call it. Can we get a up the Waz? You said it?
Up the Waz!
That's going to get clickbaited and you're going to be famous in New Zealand now just for that. It's such a famous saying that you've already won New Zealand over just by saying that.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, man, Kai, I appreciate you.
I was going to say, but before you go, can we get it good? You called it Pukana, right?
Yeah, Pukana.
And then DJ, you got to do it too, his taunt.
Okay, channel it. Pretend like you're about to stare off in the face-off. At the weigh-ins, looking at your opponent, you want to, let them know what's about to come fight night. I'll count you in. Tahi rua tori wha pukana.
You got me sweating, man. That stinks. Got me sweating already. God damn.
Fired up.
My man.
Let's go.
Kai. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Boys, if you guys enjoyed this episode of the MIGHTYcast, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live. And make sure you guys check out my man, Kai France. Don't blink. He's got merch dropping. We'll try to get that link in the description below. I'm your host, Demetrious Johnson. Our right-hand man, Michael Wansover, and our guest, Kai France. Make sure you guys check out his fight at UFC 317 as he takes on Alex Pantoja. We will see you guys in the next episode of the MIGHTYcast. What's going on, boys? Welcome back to the Mighty Recap. And this is part of the episode where we recap everything we just went through with our guest, which is Kai France. Don't blink. And the thing that stands out the most to me that I love is that he has another passion that I feel speaks more to him than mixed martial arts, which is him being part of a rugby team that him and his family grew up watching. And for him to be able to be part of that team, help them learn how to tackle or be better about holding down their opponents in rugby. If you guys don't know what rugby is, it's basically their version of American football. When it's constantly going, constantly action. When they tackle the person with the football, you hold it down. You have to pass it laterally. You have to pass it behind, and you only can throw it laterally. You can't throw it forward. So for him, and talk to him about that, and hear the passion in his voice and how much he loves it. It fulfills me knowing that he knows what he wants to do after he's done fighting, right? It's mixed martial arts isn't his saving grace. It's not his identity. Where almost when I fought, it wasn't the only thing I loved, right? I love gaming. I still game to this fucking day. I love being creative and creating content. That's why I'm doing the YouTube now. But that was probably my favorite part of the episode, is talking to him about his passion for rugby. And then to hear his upbringing, his dad's a lawyer, his brother's a lawyer. Nobody in his family does martial arts. And then he just packs it up after he graduates from high school. And instead of going to the university, he heads to Thailand, spends 4 years out there, travels around, does it on his own, doesn't have a coach. And then eventually he finds, Izzy and Eugene at City Kickboxing. He knew Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker, he didn't want to work a sales job. He wanted to punch people in the face. And so he was like, I'm going to fucking do that instead, where he actually left to Thailand. And then him getting Ultimate Fighter, coming up short, and then going to Ryzen, putting together a 4-fight win streak. He had ups and downs, and then eventually got his opportunity to get back into the UFC, and now he's been there for 6 years. Just what a full circle of like him being part of the Ultimate Fighter. That's the first time I met him. Tell everybody I was on that fucking box to make me look taller. But what a great chat. And now he's taking on Pantoja. The thing I hate about, I don't hate about doing it, but I was in the shower and I was thinking, and I want to let the chat know, and the viewers, when I make a pick, it is unemotional, it's unbiased. The only person I'm very biased with is pretty much Izzy Adesanya, right? If Izzy's gonna fight King Kong, I'm gonna say Izzy's gonna win. Okay, I'm just a fanboy. When I look at this fight between Alex Pantoja and Kai France, I did my final predictions. You guys gotta come back and listen to that. But when I make these predictions, I sit down and I look at both athletes and I see what they do best. We know Pantoja, he is an absolute monster. He likes to overwhelm his opponents with barrages of strikes, relentless takedowns, and he's always looking for the back to lock the body triangle and looking to submit him, right? And Pantoja is not afraid to stand on the feet. You look at Kai France. Kai France loves to knock people out. He's not scared to get taken down, but he has great takedown defense, but he wants to keep it on the feet. Now, I have to make the best educated guess of who I think is going to win. I'm not in Pantoja's camp. I'm not in Kai France camp. That's all I have to do. I don't pick favorites when it comes to this game. So when I make my decision, whether I have him on the MIGHTYcast or not, that's why I make my decision. It's unbiased, unemotional, educated guess. So, Michael, what do you have for us?
I think with you saying all that, we kind of have an idea of who you might be picking, but you guys could tune into that final predictions later this week. But no, what I found interesting is looking at that Ultimate Fighter, which he debuted. There's a lot of history of it. First of all, the concept of it was so stupid, with the winner facing you was just a horrible concept. But I will say it aged pretty well when you pull up that bracket. So we're talking about 2016. This was the Ultimate Fighter 24 season. It aged really well in the sense that you had Pantoja versus Brandon Moreno first round.
Yep.
You had Kai France go against Alexander Pantoja in the quarterfinals, and then Pantoja lost in the semifinals, which it's kind of crazy to think we were 2 fights away from getting a really young Pantoja versus Demetrious Johnson. But I just think it's funny that they did go against each other technically, but it was a 2-round fight, so it's an exhibition. It was in 2016. I mean, there's not much you're gonna. You could watch the footage of it if you want, but you're not going to get anything for this fight.
Yeah, and I think when you look at both of the athletes, obviously Alex Pantoja has been way more active because he's been fighting a lot more often. I mean, when you said that he fought Brandon Moreno, those guys fucking have been fight. How many times have they fought already in the UFC for the belt? I feel like they fought three times already.
Yeah. So they did. I was right. They've only fought once for the belt, 3 times, including the Ultimate Fighter. So, And yeah, so one time for the title.
You know who I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of Brandon Moreno versus Figgy. They fought a lot.
Oh no, yeah. Oh, that was four times, right?
4 times, yeah.
So, 4 times, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that, but you look at that though. Look how those guys are still around from that Ultimate Fighter in 2016. Brandon Moreno is still around. Alex Pantoja is still around. I believe Tim Elliott is still around. You also have Kai France who's still around. So a lot of those guys from that show are still in the UFC. So it just shows you how.
Yeah, and just so
there
people know what I'm referencing, if they don't know what I meant by that, the idea of the show was, here are these champions from
different
all
regions.
of these different regions. We're going to have them do a bracket to go against Demetrious Johnson, which is crazy. So these were guys who were not signed to the UFC. Imagine if they did that today. I mean, that's pretty wild. I mean, I know you didn't you find out about it when you were like streaming or something?
Yeah, I was streaming on Twitch, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it, just because it kind of watered down being the number one contender inside of the division. Like, I think Joseph at the time, I think I already knocked him out the second time, but you had guys like John Dotson who was doing well. Henry Cejudo, I don't know if I fought him yet or not. So I think for them, they were just looking for a concept to be able to build a division and build me up, like how good I was. And obviously if they would have told me prior to me finding out, I could have done a better job about promoting it instead of shitting on it like you just did. I just give my honest opinion, but I think they would do something like that in today's market, because they brought in Kai Asakura, who was a champion, and they gave him a title shot when Manel Kape knocked out Kai Asakura. Like, that's a thing. Like, a lot of people don't focus on anything outside of the UFC. Like, it's almost like you look at the UFC and everybody thinks that's all. That's the only thing out there. But there's so many fighters out there. I mean, you look at Rainy DeRitter. He came from one championship and he was a two-divisional champion. And he comes to the UFC and he fights guys and he's beating everybody. And it was like, God, how's this guy so good? He was a two-divisional champion at a very dangerous organization. Like, you look at Kai Asakura. Kai Asakura was at Ryzen. He was fucking starching people. He starched Kyoji Horiguchi. You look at Patchy Mix. He didn't have the best showing, when he stepped in the UFC debut, but he was starching, finishing people in Bellator. Right. And so, you have Aaron Pico, who's about to make his, debut in the UFC. We'll see how he does. You had Pitbull make his UFC debut. He didn't do very well, but I feel like we also got an older version of the Pitbull. He's been fucking fighting since Scott Coker before he was fighting at fucking Bellator before Bellator was a big thing. But get it back on point. You look at the guys who are part of that season Ultimate Fighter, and they're still in the UFC, which means these guys are veterans. They're the best of the best when it comes to the flyweight division. And when he takes on Alex Pantoja, don't blink going to put out Pantoja's lights, or will Pantoja reign supreme and continue his dominance as the new king of the flyweight division?
Yep, and we of course have International Fight Week. The main event is, we're gonna have a full breakdown, of course, in the final predictions. But we have Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira in the main event, Alexander Pantoja, Kai Kara-France in the co-main. Then Brandon Royval, Joshua Van. That is just a banger.
Yep,
banger fight. So this is a huge night for flyweights. I figure the winner of that fight's going to get. This is like one of those old school, how we used to talk about that they don't do it anymore, where you have the number one contender fight on the same card as the title fight. So it'd be pretty fast for Joshua Van, but if he beats Brandon Royval, who's the number one contender, there's kind of no denying it. So, also our boy Money Moicano versus Beneil Dariush. This is a deep card. A lot. You're not going to get me shitting on this card. You're not going to get MMA Guru shitting on this card. We got it. And to remind everyone, next episode of the Mighty Guru is going to be next Monday after the pay-per-view. So keep an eye for that. I can't wait for that next episode. For first one, people loved the second one. I feel like it's going to be even better.
Yeah, banger. I love always collaborating with Guru because he always gives a different opinion. And I feel he's more knowledgeable than me because he watches all the fights. This is his love. It's mixed martial arts. It's the UFC. It's the combat space. Where for me, I'm very passionate about the art. I train I'm still training. I'm 20 years deep in training, but I don't have the passion to watch every single fucking fight on the card and break down every single fucking fight on the card or every card that comes on. He's truly passionate. And I think us vibing out together, the fans have been asking for it each time we do a MIGHTYcast. Prior to us doing the Mighty Guru show, the numbers have done great and people have always wanted it. So boys, If you guys enjoyed this episode of the MIGHTYcast, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to never go live. We will be posting content, and we're going to be doing a live instant reaction this week. So, boys, make sure you guys come back.